is a special presentation of Fox Sports Net.
With only 1/4 of the season in the books, the Baltimore Orioles find themselves in a must-win situation, seeking to slow down the Yankees and compete in the American League East. The Yanks off to their best start since the days of Ruth and Garrett, a team rich in tradition. The new Murderers Row of 98 creating their own lore. With tension and emotion still riding high, it's one of baseball's biggest rivalries, the Orioles and the Yankees, next on Fox Sports Net. Fox Sports Net welcomes you to New York, Yankee Stadium in the Bronx for the third of a three-game series. The Babe Ruth commemorative stamp unveiled on Tuesday. Yankees with a record of 15-3 here at the house that Ruth built and the best record in baseball. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Baseball Thursday. Kenny Albert with Jeff Torborg. Just another ho-hum week here at Yankee Stadium. A perfect game on Sunday and a brawl on Tuesday night. Yankees have won both of this series against the Orioles so far. Baltimore club, which won the division last year, but right now 13 games out, 16 in the loss column.
Well, they're in trouble, Kenny. They are really struggling. Even though they have 117 games left, they have to be looking at wild card right now. They need this game very badly because it's a psychological factor. When you're struggling like this, you have to beat the best team in the league, and they need it badly.
Yankees with a 9-5 victory on Tuesday, 9-6 last night, and the pitching matchup here tonight in the series finale. Scott Erickson for Baltimore, Andy Pettitte for the Yanks.
Scott Erickson is the horse of this ball club, the one who eats up the innings. He is now the ace with Mussina on the disabled list. He needs to do the job. Andy Pettitte, of course, the acknowledged Yankee ace.
Will the Yankees sweep, or will the Orioles salvage one game before they head west? We'll find out. Scott Erickson, 4-4, but he has allowed the most hits in the American League. And Andy Pettitte looking to bounce back after 2 consecutive losses.
Fronting the classic paradigm. As this matrix diagram shows, supported assimilation would be the process of a risk assessment protocol implied built-in system redundancy. These slides show plan, do, check, take action. It illustrates how tactical implementation and follow-up are key to assessing the viability. I'm sorry, I have to leave.
The Mitsubishi G100 wireless phone. Make something happen.
I hate dings in the door. I have this one terrible one. Some fool comes along out of the grocery store and just bangs right in the side. And then, of course, he's looking around. Nobody else can see him but me. He's banged, and I have this huge dent. But my owner can't always get to him, right away to get him fixed. But I think she tries to make up for it. She gives me Chevron Supreme with Techron because I'm a car designed for high-octane gas.
No premium outperforms Chevron Supreme with Techron. Chevron, simply smarter.
Whether it's Iowa corn, California rice, or Louisiana cotton, John Deere knows a thing or two about harvesting. So for a change, we decided to have our engineers make something disappear. After all, somebody had to get mulching right. Introducing the Freedom Mulching System. While some may be impressed by its patents, we think you'll like the way it works, even on wet grass and leaves. Because although the problem was different, the name is still the same.
Joseph.
Yes, Papa.
There is an enemy that threatens all weeds. It is the spray.
So, we'll bribe it.
The spray does not respond to bribes.
What's the world coming to?
Roundup, no mercy, no pity, no weeds.
Both these men have athlete's foot, but only one used the soothing cure. Prescription strength Desinex. It calms the itching and cools the burning while it heals. Got athlete's foot? Get Desinex, the soothing cure.
Hey, no work to make, kid.
Thanks.
Slow-crafted Sam Adams. All in due time.
Baseball Thursday on Fox Sports Net. Net is brought to you by Desidex, the soothing cure for athlete's foot. And by Kubota Tractor Corporation, who invite you to visit your local Kubota tractor dealer today. Third of a three-game series from Yankee Stadium as we welcome you back, Kenny Albert, along with Jeff Torborg. The first place Yankees and the last place Orioles in the American League East. Brady Anderson will lead it off for the O's in center field, followed by Jeffrey Hammonds. Roberto Alomar will bat third. Rafael Palmeiro in the cleanup spot. The DH tonight is Joe Carter. Cal Ripken Jr. will bat sixth. B.J. Surhoff, Lenny Webster, and Mike Bordick. Against Yankees pitcher Andy Pettitte with a record of 5-4. He lost his first two decisions this year, won his next 5, and has lost his last 2.
Kenny, these are not very good numbers from Andy Pettitte, but he's got a good defense behind him.
Tino Martinez was scheduled to return tonight. He was injured when hit by the Armando Benitez pitch on Tuesday. Did not play last night, and a late scratch here tonight. So Dale Spain will make his third start of the year. At first base, you see the rest of the infield: Knobloch, Jeter, and Brocious, with Curtis, Williams, and O'Neill, and Joe Girardi behind the plate.
Now, Pettitte's a big left-hander, 6'5". He's a guy that has 2 types of fastballs, both over 90 miles an hour. One sinks, one rides up in the zone. He's got a great, good, hard curveball. Cutter slider, he runs in on right-handed hitters, but he's probably got the best pickoff move in the American League. This guy is a total package. He has just not been pitching well lately. Mel Stottlemyre before the game told me that he thinks what he's trying to do is be too perfect, and he's getting behind in too many counts. But this guy is the acknowledged ace of this staff.
Mel Stottlemyre, the Yankees pitching coach, on the right. Manager Joe Torre on his right. Andy Pettitte has allowed 14 earned runs over his last 2 starts, both against the Twins. The most he has allowed during consecutive starts in his 4-year Major League career. Joe Torre and the Yankees with a record of 30-9, 15-3 here at home, 15-6 on the road. Orioles struggling under their first-year manager, Ray Miller. They started 10-2. Since then, they've gone 10-23. And Baltimore has lost 7 consecutive games, while the Yankees have won 4 in a row. Brady Anderson will lead it off for the Orioles against Andy Pettitte. Brady on the disabled list earlier this season, batting only .134, but he has picked up the pace as of late with a hit in 7 of his last 8 games. 10 of 26 lifetime against Andy Pettitte. And we are underway from Yankee Stadium. A called strike from home plate umpire Ted Hendry. Larry Young working down at first base. Drew Coble at second. And Dale Ford is our third base umpire.
Well, Ted Hendry is not a favorite right now. Brady Anderson's. He didn't think that curveball was over the plate. He thought that was inside. Of course, the book on Brady is not to give him fastballs in the first pitch.
Fouled off down the third base line. So Anderson falls behind 0-2.
Brady Anderson, when you think about what he means to this ball club, 2 years ago he hit 50 home runs leading off. Last year he hit 18 more. This guy is a real heart of one of the key people in the whole lineup. You know, Ripken, you talk about the record he has. Well, Brady's the same type of gutty type of player.
The 0-2 from Pettitte. And Anderson pops it up in foul territory. The third baseman, Brocious, makes the catch, 1 away in the first. Well, the excitement on Tuesday night, the brawl. Armando Benitez hit Tino Martinez with a pitch following a Bernie Williams go-ahead home run. Benitez serving the second of his 8-game suspension tonight. That will be followed by a 2-game suspension. Alan Mills will sit it out after Benitez serves his 8 on the Yankee side. Darryl Strawberry tonight serving the second of his 3-game suspension, which will be followed by Graham Lloyd's 3 games, and then Jeff Nelson's 2. Lloyd and Nelson, of course, came charging out of the bullpen as Jeffrey Hammonds takes ball 1 with 1 out in the top of the first inning. Hammonds batting .252 on the season, only 2 of his last 21. 1-1.
Jeffrey Hammonds is a local kid. He's from Scotch Plains, New Jersey, not far from here, about 25 miles away. Was a tremendous athlete at Scotch Plains High School. Same high school that Ronaldo Nehemiah, the great Olympic track man, came from.
Skeets. Hammonds punches down the first base line. Pettit off the mound. Lets Girardi make the play, and he gets him.
Well, Jeffrey Hammonds doesn't think so. He's not real happy. But that was a great play by Girardi. At first, he wasn't sure whether Pettit was going to be able to get to the ball. But when he did jump on the ball, he didn't waste any time. He didn't get his arm up high to throw it to first. He just flipped it from the side. Here it is again. Hammonds can fly, by the way. Nice bunt. But look at this play by Girardi. That is a terrific play. And another play at the other end by Swaim.
Dale Swaim making only his third start of the year, his first at first base. As Roberto Alomar takes a ball, Swaim has played first base only 46 times during his 12-year Major League career. Primarily has played on the left side of the infield. 1-1, Roberto Alomar batting .289, working on an 8-game hitting streak. And 1-1 from Pettit, now 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, we're watching Andy Pettit almost with a little different philosophy. He is not trying to be perfect. He's just trying to throw the first couple pitches over the plate, and that should help him. That's probably Mel Stottlemeier's game plan.
Over the glove of Pettit, Jeter across the Swaim, and that will do it for the Orioles as Joe Girardi made the key defensive play during the top of the first, retiring Jeffrey Hammonds.
The world's greatest explorer wasn't available, so they got this guy. He's offensive. He's vulgar. He's perfect. Chris Farley. You want my head to explode? Matthew Perry. Trust me, the worst is over. They're hitting the road and anything else that gets in their way. Almost Heroes, rated PG-13, starts Friday, May 29th.
So I hear 10321 can save me a lot of money.
Sure, you'll save 50% off every call over 20 minutes by dialing 10321.
Well, does it matter when I call?
Nope. 10321 saves morning, noon, and night.
Can it save over AT&T One rate?
You bet. 10321 is always cheaper than AT&T One rate on every call over 20 minutes and on all calls all weekend.
Sounds too good.
Don't take my word for it. Just dial 10321, then 1 and the number. You don't have to switch companies. So look for these savings on your phone bill.
I will.
Somewhere between home white and road gray, there's chalk. Where chalk blends with clay, there's dust. And if you keep your eye dead center, where dust and ash converge, you'll strike an overpowering color called smoke. One of the colors between the colors created by Canon. Canon Laser Color. Its only competition is real.
Back in Yankee Stadium, bottom of the first. The Yankees with a record of 30-9. They started the season 1-4, have lost only 5 of 34 since. And Chuck Knobloch will lead it off. The second baseman followed by shortstop Derek Jeter, working on a 15-game hitting streak. Paul O'Neill, who signed a 1-year contract extension earlier today, will bat third. Bernie Williams in the cleanup spot. Tim Raines, the DH. Chad Curtis in left field tonight. The third baseman Scott Brocious will bat seventh. Catcher Joe Girardi and the first baseman Dale Swaim against Scott Erickson with a record of 4-4, including 3 complete games.
Well, he's a big guy, 6'4", 230. Numbers not real good. When you have that many hits and he leads the American League with hits given up, you're not doing real well. But he's a sinker ball pitcher, so if he can make them hit the ball on the ground, he's got a chance.
Also 6th in runs allowed so far this season. And Chuck Knobloch, the leadoff man for the Yankees, takes strike one. Knobloch in his first season in New York, batting .248. 6 of 16 lifetime against Erickson, his former teammate with the Minnesota Twins. 1-1.
Knobloch, even though he is not really having the kind of year that they think he'll have eventually, he's going against, as you mentioned, a former teammate, a power sinker ball pitcher, 94 miles an hour, very hard slider, slow curve, can be run on.
Strike 2 call. So Knobloch falls behind. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
What I started to say about Knobloch is You know, here's a guy that's hit well over 300 in the past, but he makes things happen. Even though he's off to a slow start with the Yankees, they love him. The top of the order, he can run, he makes things happen, he's a good defender.
High and tight, 2-2.
And when you have a guy at the front end of the order who can steal bases the way Knobloch can, it means that the rest of the order behind him, if he gets on, will get a lot of fastballs and make them much better hitters, because Knobloch stole 62 bases last year.
9 so far this year. Yankees second in the AL in steals. Fouled back behind first base, so the count remains 2-2.
You see what this guy can do. He makes things happen. He gets on base with the walks. He goes deep into the count. He's a good leadoff hitter because he can steal. He's scored 26 runs. Doesn't strike out very often. When he first came up, he used to shoot everything to right field, but he's gotten stronger, so he can pull the ball too.
Off the glove of the shortstop Bordick into center field. So a leadoff single for Knobloch.
Well, this was a bullet. I don't know if this had a little tail on it, but as Bordick dove for the ball, he almost came up with a great play, but this ball was a rocket. And what happens when you dive sometimes, you go to make your dive, your head jiggles a little. You're not sure how far to extend, but that ball was ripped. That almost took his webbing right out of his glove.
So Knobloch, the leadoff man on first, and Derek Jeter with a hit in 15 consecutive games. 3 last night, a single, a double, and a triple. Erickson looks Knobloch back to first. You mentioned the 62 stolen bases a year ago. 9 of 14 so far this year.
Kenny, also you can run on Erickson. The reason being he takes a little time getting the ball to the plate, and he's a sinker baller, so he's in the dirt a lot, and the Oriole catchers have trouble throwing people out. Lenny Webster had elbow surgery over the winter, so it's difficult for him to throw.
Jeter squares to bunt and takes strike one. Derek Jeter, 11 of his last 23. As we take a look at his numbers during the 15-game hitting streak. The longest streak in the American League this year, 16. By Joey Cora and Nomar Garcia-Parra.
Well, you can see how the Orioles are very concerned about Chuck Knobloch. That's one of the reasons this Yankee lineup is so balanced and so successful. Knobloch's coming in, enables Jeter to bat second instead of leadoff. Now he can get inside the ball and hit it to right field with anybody.
Knobloch bluffed, and Jeter fouls it back 0-2.
Now what I say by that, very often as you're making a lineup out, your number 2 hitter is a guy that you like to have the ability to shoot the ball through the hole on the right side. The reason being, when you get a base runner like Knobloch, a leadoff hitter, who gets on, there's a big hole there because the first baseman is holding him on. So if you have somebody, if he's a left-hand hitter, can pull it through that hole, or a right-hand hitter can handle the bat and shoot it through there, you really got something. That's what Jeter can do, but he's gotten strong enough now that he can also turn on the ball when they try to pitch him in. But this Yankee lineup is solid, top to bottom.
6 of the 9 starters tonight batting 300 or better. Would have been 7 with Martinez in the starting lineup. Outside 1-2.
Now, as we're watching Knobloch standing out there, when he gets out, what you try to do, it's a little more difficult to do on regular turf because you don't see the area where you get your foot up on, but you want to get out where you can get about 4 steps out and right in an area like as we see right here. And one of the things you will try to do,
ground ball to the second baseman Alomar. There's one double play, a 4-6-3 double play. Alomar to Bordick to Palmeiro.
well, it's a moot point now, but when a base runner gets out and gets enough of a lead that he can take a step and a dive and get back, that's a good lead. Now, Derek Jeter in this situation tried to shoot to that hole but didn't quite get it there. He got it instead over to Robbie Alomar, one of the best second basemen to ever play this game. Bordick, of course, makes it not even close the way they turned that ball. But this game is a game of inches. In that case, it was a game of a couple feet. If that ball were over a couple feet more toward first base by Derek Jeter, you might have runners at first and third at this point.
Instead, 2 outs for Paul O'Neill, who earlier today agreed to a 1-year contract extension for next season, plus a club option for the year 2000. And O'Neill lifts it foul into the stands. down the left field line. O'Neill 6 of 10 in this series so far, batting .323. He's been over 300 each of his 5 seasons with the Yankees.
I like this guy as a player a whole lot, and when I was managing the Mets in the National League, he was with Cincinnati, and he's such a tough out. Then he came here to the Yankees and has upped his game. As you can see what he's done. I mean, those are incredible averages. And yet around here, sometimes some of the media said he's a whiner. Well, there's Chris Chambliss, the hitting coach, talking to Knobloch in the dugout. But Paul O'Neill is a very professional hitter, and he's toughest on himself. You know, when somebody says, well, he's a whiner, he's not a whiner. He's got a fire in his stomach, and he takes it out on himself and on the water cooler and on the Gatorade jug, you know, but he really is a gamer.
2 outs, bottom of the first, and the 1-1 from Erickson. Remember Tuesday night, the brawl incited by Armando Benitez, who hit Tino Martinez last night. 2 Orioles and 1 Yankee were hit by pitches.
Yeah, that wasn't intentional. This one, as you'll see, Erickson is a sinker ball. He just pulls the ball to the inside part of the plate. He wanted to make sure it was down and in. He didn't want to leave it out over the plate.
O'Neill goes fishing 2-2.
You know, when you look at the numbers that Paul O'Neill's had in New York, it's not just coincidental that the Yankees have started playing well since he's been here. He is an integral part of this club right in the middle of the order. The Yankees have never been successful without a left-handed hitter who can reach the short porch in right field. And O'Neill has come in here and hit for average and hit for power and played an outstanding right field.
Fouled off down the right field line, and refreshing to listen to Paul O'Neill speak to the media in the Yankees clubhouse earlier today about how lucky he is to play baseball. With regard to his new contract, he said every game standing out of the outfield, he thinks about how lucky he is and explains to his kids, hey, your daddy is not the norm. And O'Neill strikes out, and that does it for the Yankees in the first. A leadoff single by Knobloch. No score after 1.
It's time to shop Chevy.
My Chevy Cavalier has air, automatic, ABS. I know a smart buy when I see it.
Lease for $199 a month with a $598 initial payment, or buy and get 1.9 financing or $1,000 cash back.
My Chevy Malibu is spacious, reliable, and costs over $2,000 less than Camry or Accord. This is the car you knew America could build.
Lease a Malibu for $219 a month with a $1,204 initial payment, or buy and get 1.9 financing. Shop Chevy now.
Hey kids, how can you have the most fun on 2 feet at the 3rd annual Comcast Kicks Camps? You'll receive training from the top professional soccer players and coaches in the Delaware Valley, led by camp director Kicks head coach Dave McWilliams. All campers receive a Kicks Camp t-shirt, free tickets to Kicks games, and best of all sessions are specifically tailored to your age and skill level. Day and evening sessions are available. To join the fun, call the Kicks at 1-888-888-KICKS.
Come out and join us this summer and learn from the pros at a Kicks Camp.
1 million people have Parkinson's disease, with 50,000 new cases each year. There's no cure, but there is treatment and hope. It's you. On Sunday, May 31st, the Pedal for Parkinson's Bike-a-thon will raise money to help knock out this disabling disease. Bike from the Art Museum or Rosemont Station. Check local merchants for entry forms or call 215-546-9004. Anyone can get Parkinson's. On May 31st, everyone can help beat it.
Sportsnet welcomes you back to Yankee Stadium. Paul O'Neill struck out to end the first inning. For the Orioles here in the second, it will be Palmeiro, Carter, and Ripken. Well, on Tuesday night, prior to the first game of this series, the Yankees joined the United States Postal Service as they unveiled
Wait a minute, he's not on here. Hold it.
Decade of the 1920s.
He's getting on a headset.
Babe Ruth stamp. In a pregame ceremony, there's David Wells, a big Babe Ruth fan, and the man you saw throw out the first pitch was Paul Hopkins, who allowed the Babes' 59th home run back in 1927. Ruth's daughter, Julie Ruth Stevens, was also on hand for the pregame ceremony on Tuesday as Rafael Palmeiro takes strike one.
And I didn't play against Mr. Hopkins.
How about Ruth? And there's the stamp out next to the scoreboard in center field. Pettit quickly off the mound, spins and throws out Palmeiro.
Now, Andy Pettit, of course, the left-hander going against the left-hander in Palmeiro. As he throws the ball, you'll see that he falls off the mound and spins around, all the way around, and comes back to the ball. He made a full spin, came to the ball, and then he'll spin again to line up to throw to first base. A lot of times you'll see left-handers deliver the ball, fall toward third, and then come around the back way to field balls like that.
Here's the DH, Joe Carter, and he takes ball one. Carter batting .271 on the season, 1 for 2 in this series. Carter's bat has been quiet as of late, driven in only 2 runs in his last 17 games.
Well, there's a lot been said about the way this Oriole lineup has been used by Ray Miller. Ray's done a heck of a job with this club. You know, you don't knock the manager when the club is not pitching well, not hitting well, and he's tried to keep everybody rested and try to use his outfielders as much as he could. You know, when you have Carter and Harold Baines and Jeffrey Hammonds and Eric Davis to go with Brady Anderson and B.J. Surhoff, you try to keep them all ready to play, especially with Eric Davis coming back from cancer. And Ray has taken a lot of heat because, of course, this club went from wire to wire last year under Davey Johnson. And Ray Miller, of course, was the pitching coach in this club. And you're looking at Eric Davis and Jeffrey Hammonds both sitting here. But it can be tough on a manager when you have to try to get all these guys in to keep everybody ready.
The 1-2 from Pettit, back to the box. Again, Pettit able to make the play and throws out Carter.
I'll tell you what, when you have a pitcher that can help himself by fielding his position, if he delivers the ball and comes up in a fielding position, he's got a chance to really help himself, because after he delivered the ball, he becomes a fielder. Here he is delivering the ball. Watch as he finishes. Now he's getting both feet down. He takes a little hop, and of course he used all of that 6'5" to bring that one down. Nice play.
And talking about balls hit back to the box as Cal Ripken steps in. It was last September, Jeff, here at Yankee Stadium when Andy Pettit was hit by a line drive off the bat of Cal Ripken. Pettit forced to leave the game with contusions on his thumb, lip, and his nose. And, of course, you and I were in Baltimore for Baseball Thursday last Thursday evening as Ripken goes up the middle for the Orioles' first base hit of the game. But last Thursday night, Mike Mussina, the Orioles ace, hit by the line drive off the bat of Sandy Alomar Jr. And we wish Mike the best. Underwent surgery earlier today. His nose was reset at the University of Maryland Medical Center.
You know, it's amazing. That shot he took, he was very fortunate. It did break his nose. I mean, to break your nose, you're not fortunate, but he was fortunate. That ball, when it hit him, hit above his eye instead of in his eye or in his temple area. And there have been an awful lot of guy, that's Mike Flanagan you're seeing on the screen right now. It's the pitching coach of the Orioles. You're seeing a lot of balls going back through the middle lately in Major League games.
We've already seen Pettit field 2 here in the second inning alone as B.J. Surhoff takes strike 1. Surhoff leading the Orioles in runs batted in, 8th in the American League, 34 RBI, 10 of 22 lifetime against Pettit, and a local product out of Rye, New York. To the right side, and Slade takes it himself, and that retires the Orioles into second. One hit, Ripken stranded. No score, middle of the second.
For your local
reseller, call 1-800-34-XEROX.
Joseph.
Yes, Papa.
There is an enemy that threatens all weeds. It is the spray.
So, we'll bribe it.
The spray does not respond to bribes.
What's the world coming to?
Roundup. No mercy, no pity, no weeds.
Both these men have athlete's foot, but only one used the soothing cure. Prescription strength Desinex. It calms the itching and cools the burning while it heals. Got athlete's foot? Get Desinex, the soothing cure.
Hi there, I'm Buddy Parrott. Today I'm going to tell you how to prevent a problem before it happens. The problem is radiator leaks caused by the buildup of sludge and rust. The solution is Radiator Restorer Sealer Conditioner. Radiator Restorer lubricates and conditions your entire cooling system, and its natural fibers react with air to stop leaks fast. Don't let a rusty radiator or leak keep you off the road. Add Radiator Restorer Sealer Conditioner the next time you add coolant.
Back at Yankee Stadium, Joe Torre said earlier this season when we were 1-4 and the Orioles were 10-2 back in April, we were just thinking about staying close.
Yeah, well, it's amazing how quickly things change in a Major League season.
Yankees at 30-9, Orioles 5 games under 500 as we move to the bottom of the second inning. Each team with a base hit. Kenny Albert, Jeff Tolmore. Baseball Thursday on Fox Sports Net. Bernie Williams, who hit the go-ahead home run on Tuesday night, just prior to the bench-clearing brawl, when Armando Benitez hit the next batter, Tino Martinez, with a pitch in the back. Martinez underwent x-rays yesterday. No fracture. He does have a contusion of his chest wall and was in the original Yankees lineup tonight, but they made a change about 1 hour prior to game time. Martinez hopes to be in the lineup tomorrow night in Boston. To the left side, Bordick with the backhand play, throws it across, and gets Williams.
Wow, this is an outstanding play. Mike Bordick, of course, one of those guys who's very underrated, just very consistent shortstop. Tony La Russa, his former manager with Oakland, says he's one of the best players he's ever had play for him. He is so consistent, and to bring a guy like this into the Orioles situation, replacing a legend in Cal Ripken, the guy better be good, and this is a terrific play. And realize also they just got a guy who's hitting left-handed, can run. So that means he's close to first base, or closer than as a right-handed hitter.
Off-speed pitch for ball one. Tim Raines, what a series he's having. 5 for 10 over the last 2 games with a home run and 6 runs batted in. At age 38 in his 18th Major League season. Foul back 1-1.
Tim Raines is a great guy in a ball club. He played for me when I managed the White Sox for 2 years, and this guy is really a quality guy. He really has fun playing the game. He keeps everybody loose in the clubhouse. He's got a couple kids who are outstanding players. In fact, his oldest boy, who's also nicknamed Rock, I think might be drafted this year.
And Raines pops it up. Shortstop Bordick called off by the center fielder Brady Anderson. 2 away. In the second, Raines referred to by some as Little Rock.
Yeah, Little Rock, that's right. I made a joke one time. I was managing the White Sox, and we allowed the kids to be on the field, but they got on the field one time they shouldn't have been there, and I was telling the club that they couldn't have it this way. I said, I know that at 12 years old he probably could play center for us. And Lance Johnson, our center fielder, in the middle of the meeting says, thanks a lot, Skip. But his son is a tremendous athlete.
So with 2 away, here's Chad Curtis, who swings and misses at strike 1. Curtis in his second season with the Yankees, batting .300, and he is 3rd in the American League in on-base percentage.
This was a great pickup from the Indians last year. When he came to the Yankees and played 93 games, he hit close to 300, 291, but he makes things happen.
0-2.
He had been a center fielder, so now he's playing left field, and this left field here might be one of the toughest left fields in all of baseball. Big left field at Yankee Stadium. And Curtis has really done a terrific job, and he adds a dimension that he can run as well. So you got the bottom of their order can run as much as the top of the order.
Check swing, and first base umpire Larry Young says strike 3 for 1-2-3 inning. for Erickson as Curtis strikes out. 2 innings complete. No score from the Bronx.
Fox Sports News, prime time. A heavyweight contender fighting for his life.
I have tested positive for the HIV virus.
Tonight, Tommy Morrison's private battle.
Where do I go from here?
Only on Fox Sports News, prime time.
Rome on Shaquille O'Neal.
The next big game Shaquille wins will be his first.
Rome on Barry Bonds.
If the guy's not going to be accessible and he's not going to be friendly, what does he expect?
Jim Rome on The Last Word. Weeknights on Fox Sports Net.
You're stranded.
Hi. Folks all right? This isn't good.
Your wife disappears. And there's no one you can trust.
You the fella looking for his wife?
How far would you go to save her?
Hey, you boy! Sit down on the ground!
Kurt Russell.
Where is she?
Breakdown. When the boys of summer take the field, it's more than just about the game. It's about the thrill of catching a foul ball and dreaming of hitting a home run. CN8 is dedicated to bringing the dream home to you with Trenton Thunder Baseball. You'll see the smiles in the stands from the inspiration on the field. Join us all summer from Waterfront Park as we bring you the excitement of dreams fulfilled. Trenton Thunder Baseball, exclusively on CN8, the Comcast network.
No score as we head to the third. Andy Pettit has allowed just one base runner. A 2-out single by Cal Ripken in the second. Lenny Webster leads it off for the Orioles here in the third. And there's Scott Erickson, the Orioles man on the mound here tonight. Webster splitting the catching duties with Chris Hoyles this season. And he takes a called strike from home plate umpire Ted Hendrick.
Well, there is a strike on the first pitch, which is so important, as Mel Stottlemyre had mentioned. That's what they want to do, get ahead in the count. And the shot we just saw in the Baltimore dugout, Erickson had his hand wrapped in a towel. Now you wonder what that's all about. And it's his pitching hand. It's interesting. I don't know. You don't see that often unless he hurt something.
Foul back, 1-2.
But we were talking about Pettit and how important it is that he get ahead from what Mel Stottlemyre's pitching coach was saying. And so as he's begun this game, he's gotten 5 ground outs, and through going into this inning, 3 first pitch strikes out of 6.
And Webster hits it in the air, left center. Williams under it, 1 away. So Lenny Webster flies out to begin the third inning as Mike Bordick steps to the plate for the first time tonight. Bordick batting .273 on the season, 10 of his last 23, with 2 hits in this series so far.
Boy, has he gotten hot. Last year he struggled his first year with the Orioles, almost like he was trying to prove to his new team that he could play here. Only hit .236.
And the curve misses for ball 1.
And we saw Bordick last Thursday turn on a ball and hit one out of the ballpark, and also hit a double off the left field wall. He's going back to an open stance, and he's pulling the ball more now.
And he slices it to right. Catcher's made by Paul O'Neill. 2 away in the third.
Right after I say he pulls the ball, he hits the ball the other way. When he first came up with the Oakland A's, he hit everything to right field. He had this open stance where he was looking at the pitcher with his whole lettering on his uniform facing him. Well, this one stood with an open stance, of course.
And there's Orioles coach Eddie Murray in the Baltimore dugout. Every night on Fox Sports Net, it's Fox Sports News Prime Time. All the scores, all the highlights, and all the breaking stories. Covering your hometown teams 7 nights a week. We are there. Fox Sports News Prime Time. Brady Anderson 0 for 1. Fouled out to the third baseman Brocious to lead off the game. Off-speed pitch, high and tight, 1-1.
And the first pitch in this at-bat was another curveball. Brady Anderson, especially the year he hit 50 home runs, jumped on anything hard he saw right away. A lot of leadoff hitters, prototypical leadoff hitters, will take pitches, go deep in the count, try to work their way on. Well, Brady didn't do that. 50 home runs, obviously, he didn't try to just get on. He ran all the way around the bases.
1-1 from Pettit to the right side. Knobloch to Swain. A 1-2-3 inning for Andy Pettit.
Every time you change your car's paper air filter, it gets thrown into a landfill with 200 million others each year. And they keep piling up because you can only use them once. So change to K&N, the reusable air filter. The best and last filter you'll ever buy because you simply wash and reinstall it time after time. And K&N air filters are guaranteed for 10 years or 1 million miles. Call for a free brochure and the K&N retailer nearest you. K&N, the best for your engine and the environment.
Both these men have athlete's foot. But only one used Desinex, the soothing cure. Desinex has a dual-action formula that calms the itching and cools the burning. And Desinex is clinically proven to kill the fungus dead. So your feet feel good while they heal. Got athlete's foot? Get dual-action Desinex, the soothing cure.
Hi, I'm Jim Palmer. You can still refinance your mortgage at today's low rates, even if your credit is less than perfect. Call the Money Store at 1-800-LOAN-YES.
Shouldn't your machines do what you ask?
Are we having a communication problem here? Please, open email.
Can you access the network already? I don't know. I'm asking.
Print 1,000 collated sets in London.
Why put up with dumb machines when you can have smart ones? Image Anywhere from Canon, the new paradigm for the digital workplace.
Just work with me here.
Kenny Albert, Jeff Torborg back at Yankee Stadium, bottom three. Scott Brosius, Joe Girardi, and Dale Swain for the Yankees here in the third against Scott Erickson, who will add a leadoff single to Chuck Knobloch in the first inning and has retired all of the Yankees since then. Brosius batting .324, and he takes strike one. Brosius coming over during the offseason from Oakland. Hit a home run last night, his second of the season.
Brosius had an awful year last year with Oakland, and they got him this year, hoping that was just an aberration last year. The year before, he showed power. He's an excellent defensive third baseman. Done a heck of a job here so far.
Acquired in the Kenny Rogers deal. 2 balls, 1 strike. Strike call, 2-2.
Look at Erickson. He's got that, looks like his glove is almost shoe polished black. Big glove, and he really gets his hand way into it. Now here's the hit zone for Scott Brosius. He likes the ball through the middle of the plate, about belt high.
And he swings and misses. Strikeout number 3 for Scott Erickson. And it's time now for another Fox Sportsnet game break from the vet in Philadelphia, where Mike Lieberthal hits a 2-run homer off Todd Stottlemyre, his 4th of the year. And the Phillies lead the Cardinals 3-2 in the top of the 5th inning. And there is Todd Stottlemyre's father, Mel, the Yankees pitching coach.
And don't think he isn't looking up at that board, too. He knows where his son is pitching. And versus his mind is in this game, and part of his heart is down here in Philadelphia. Boy, what a good pitcher Mel Stottlemyre was. Several-time All-Star with the Yankees.
As Joe Girardi takes strike 2. Girardi batting .219 on the season.
Well, Erickson's not only showing just a good hard sinker ball, which he's known for, but he's showed a great slider.
Bounce to the second baseman, Alomar. 2 away in the third. Erickson working quickly. He's been involved in the 2 fastest Orioles games so far this season. Erickson pitched a 2-hour 7-minute complete game and a 2-hour 9-minute complete game earlier this year. And for the 3rd straight year, he leads the American League in ground ball to fly ball ratio. 75% of the balls hit in play against Erickson around the ground.
No, that's because of that real hard sinker. If you have a ball that keeps sinking in the strike zone, the hitters will pound it into the ground. The problem is if the sinker baller gets the ball up is when he gets banged around.
Dale Swain, 0 for 10 on the season, playing in his 9th game for the injured Tino Martinez.
Here's his grip. You can see up in his glove, up in this area here. He's right high over his head, but he really hides the ball well.
Ground ball to the shortstop corner. Second consecutive 1-2-3 inning for Erickson. 3 innings complete from Yankee Stadium. No score.
The new 98 Lincoln Continental is better looking here, here, and here. For just $4.99 a month, you can lease the front-wheel drive V8-powered Lincoln Continental. And with a $1,000 customer appreciation bonus, that drops to $469 for current Ford, Lincoln Mercury, or GM original owners. Lease the restyled Continental from Lincoln. What a luxury car should be.
No one ever asks, do you want leafy greens with that?
I'll have a double cheeseburger, fries, and coffee.
Well, sometimes it's hard to eat right.
95.
That's why GNC's Mega Men multivitamins have a complete combination of 41 vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, herbs, and other ingredients. Because recommended daily allowances almost never come to go. Mega Men multivitamins, exclusively at General Nutrition Centers. GNC. Live well.
I've been fortunate to hit home runs that help win ball games. Now my home runs can help save lives. Because from June 20th to June 25th, every home run hit in a Major League ballpark will raise money to bring researchers closer to a cure for prostate cancer. I'm ready to do my part, but the home runs I hit won't count without you.
Join the Cap Cure Home Run Challenge. Call 1-800-547-CURE.
Scott Erickson retired the Yankees in order again in the 3rd inning. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted without written consent. Jeffrey Hammonds leads off the top of the 4th inning for the Baltimore Orioles. Only 2 hits combined through 3. Following 9-5 and 9-6 games each of the last 2 nights. And ironically, when you look at the hits allowed chart in the American League so far this season, Scott Erickson at the top. Andy Pettit is 3rd.
Yeah, you're talking about 2 guys that surprise you with those kind of numbers because they're guys that have really been pretty good pitchers over their careers. And Andy Pettit, of course, is the guy that stepped forward for the Yankees a couple of years ago, came out of nowhere. Actually, they were using him in the bullpen a little bit and made the starting rotation, and now is the ace of this staff.
He won 21 games 2 years ago when the Yankees won the World Series, went 18-7 last year. His 39 wins over the past 2 seasons, the most in the American League, tied with John Smoltz for the Major League lead. And he is 5-4 so far this season.
Well, he really is a perfectionist. He really fights himself and pushes himself, and sometimes that can work to the detriment of a pitcher because he gets too careful.
2 balls, 2 strikes with Roberto Alomar on deck.
Kenny, I don't know what's going on here, but the wind is starting to swirl here. That does swirl in this ballpark, where you can look on the roof and see the flags blowing one way, and down in the field it'll be blowing the other way because of the way it catches in the stands here. But all of a sudden the wind is really blown up here now, and it's swirling, blowing papers all over the place.
The 2-2 for Pettit, strike 3 call. First strikeout for Andy Pettit.
Well, that's a pitch right there that really makes him very effective to a right-handed hitter. It's a cut fastball or a slider, a true slider. It means it runs in a little bit on the right-hander. See, Jeffrey Hammonds kind of step in toward the plate, and the ball chases him inside. He can't do anything about it. Watch the ball break in toward him. That's a cutter.
And Roberto Alomar takes strike one. Alomar grounded out to the shortstop, Jeter. His first time up. Grounded foul down the third base line, 0-2.
When Pettit is on, he can make it look easy because he gets into a nice rhythm. He's got a real nice delivery. And he keeps his pitches down that he wants down. Now, there are times when you'll throw up in the strike zone, especially when you're heading the count like right now. If he wants to run a cutter in up at the letters at Robbie Alomar's hands, he might try it here. Most of the time, he wants to keep the ball down.
The 0-2 fouled off. So Alomar stays alive with one out in the top of the fourth inning. No score from Yankee Stadium.
Without oversimplifying it, every hitter that ever lived, you can pitch him in, up and in, and low and away. And if you're able to do that, keep your breaking ball down, you got a chance to get every hitter who ever lived out.
Pettit just misses 1-2.
Now that was that 91-mile-an-hour fastball that he sunk away. And here's Robbie Alomar's hit zone from the right side. Normally right-handed hitting, especially a switch hitter hitting right-handed, will like the ball up more than this. He likes it in the middle of the plate. Whenever you see a switch hitter, you say, well, from the left side he likes the ball down, and from the right side he'll like it up. In this case, Robbie Alomar doesn't like it real high, and that could be because he had a bad left shoulder last year, so bad that he had to hit left-handed all year, or the latter part of the year at least. Now, what I say by that, if you have a bad shoulder, and that looked like with that wind blowing, something got in his eye. But if you've had a bad shoulder, you cannot get on top of the high pitch. And that might be why he, in his hit zone, was blue. He's having trouble with the ball up and in.
The 2-2 from Pettit. Bounce to the third baseman, Barocious. And Pettit has retired 11 of the first 12 Orioles to come to the plate.
You know, I wonder about that scuffle they had the other night. The Orioles came in here struggling, looking to really turn things around against the Yankees. They were leading in the game when they had that fight. Now, most of the time, fights pull teams together. But from the way things happened in that fight, the Orioles players and management came out against their own pitcher, which they had to do because it was a disgrace what Benitez did, drill Tino Martinez in the back.
Rafael Palmeiro takes strike one.
So it did not pull their team together. You know, they had to defend their player out there on the field that particular day, but they don't have to agree with the fact that he drilled the next hitter after Bernie Williams hit a home run and really could have hurt him badly. Drilled him right in the middle of the back.
If anything, it pulled the Yankees closer together.
Yes, and they really didn't need much help the way they've been playing. You know, when things aren't going well for a ball club, people start pointing fingers. Everybody starts to overanalyze the club. The heat goes on the manager, and when it's the Oriole team, for an example, with the highest payroll and the oldest team, they're really going to pick it apart. But there's a lot of character in this Orioles team. They're just digging the hole so deep, you wonder if they can ever get out of it.
Off-speed pitch. Palmeiro fouls it back, so the count remains 0-2. During their 7-game losing streak, Orioles batting only .234. You see the rest of the numbers. Their opponents are batting .318 during that stretch.
Well, you know, Kenny, last year when they led from wire to wire, they only were 9th in hitting in the American League. Excuse me, they didn't really do it with a lot of hitting. Their ERA, though, was 2nd in the league.
And Palmeiro hits this one to deep right field. O'Neill watching it. It's gone. Home run number 9 for Rafael Palmeiro. And the Orioles have taken a 1-0 lead.
Well, Palmeiro, of course, we know what he can do. We know the kind of home run power he's had. Hit 38 last year, 39 the 2 successive years before that. And normally you think about a left-handed pitcher facing a left-handed hitter, you want to try to throw your breaking ball down and away. Well, take a look at where this pitch is. You see it's a mistake pitch right in the middle of the plate.
and good power Major League hitters don't miss mistakes in the middle of the plate. And you can see Andy Pettitte knows that ball was just not where he wanted it.
6th home run allowed this season by Pettitte as Joe Carter singles up the middle. Rafael Palmeiro homering for the 2nd time in 5 innings. He went deep in the 9th last night, one of 3 Oriole home runs in the 9th inning against Yankee reliever Darren Holmes. Palmeiro hitting his 9th of the year to give the Orioles the lead, and now Joe Carter is on first base. Cal Ripken at the plate.
Well, Andy Pettitte is just, that was another mistake pitch. He just got to, after a home run, very often you see a pitcher walk a hitter. In this case, it looked like Andy Pettitte didn't quite get it where he wants. You got to back off, take a deep breath, and figure what you want to do to get the next guy out and get out of this inning.
Strike 1 called, 2 outs, top of the 4th. Orioles with the 1-0 lead. Carter, the runner on first.
I think Andy Pettitte's going to try to keep the ball inside because Ripken, the first time up, hit a bullet back through the middle on a ball away. Joe Carter just hit a bullet back through the middle on another ball away. I think you might see Andy try to stay inside. Yep.
Bounce to third. Brocious to second. To force out Carter. And that does it for the Orioles in the 4th, but not before they take the lead. The home run by Palmeiro.
We get busy.
Roll that videotape.
Action. Reaction.
Oh, baby.
Woo. I will be ready.
Sports satisfaction. Ben Earl Wright. Kevin Frazier.
Fox Sports News. Prime time.
We are there. Weeknights at 10.
That's my daughter, Caitlin.
What do you feel like watching tonight? Whatever it is, you'll find it on multi-channel HBO. It's extra channels at no extra cost. You'll get 2 channels of HBO, each with a completely different choice. Say there's action on one, you'll find comedy on another, or sports. Multi-channel HBO.
Hear the thunder roar and feel the earth move as the superstars of World Championship Wrestling tear the house down. Next up, Philadelphia. Be there live to witness history in the making. Come see the unbelievable action and interruptions from your favorite WCW superstars. Plus, you never know who may crash the party when Thunder strikes the Core State Spectrum, Thursday, June 18th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets on sale now at the box office and Ticketmaster.
Well, the Orioles will sail west following tonight's game, at least figuratively.
Yeah, a long way west. They go all the way out to Oakland.
And they play tomorrow night.
Wow. Going that way is not so bad. It's coming back if you have to play the next night. It makes it tough. Of course, the Yankees head up the road to Boston. That's a great rivalry.
And then the Yankees head out west to Chicago before the Red Sox visit Yankee Stadium next week. A home and home with the Red Sox, with the White Sox in between as Chuck Knobloch takes a strike. Knobloch singled to lead off the bottom of the 1st, the only base hit against Erickson, but he was retired on a double play.
Well, you see right there what happened. Chuck Knobloch aims or takes the head of his back toward the catcher, lays it back, and he hit Joe Girardi's glove, so Ted Hendry, the umpire, stopped play immediately. Knobloch has an interesting way of aiming his bat back. There are some guys who will do this. Other guys hold it straight back up. I inadvertently called Lenny Webster by the wrong name, but Knobloch aims the head of the bat back toward the catcher. And you don't see that very often. Cal Ripken last year did that for a while. It gave him the feeling, he said, that get the head back so that he would cock it to get it in position to hit. Well, Knobloch has done this for a while.
Not a bad hit zone.
I'll say not. Only 2 cold spots in the thing.
Not this time. As Erickson strikes out Knobloch, 4th strikeout of the game for Erickson. Jim, this Sunday on NFL Europe, the Rams' Kurt Warner and Jacksonville's Malcolm Thomas lead the top-ranked Amsterdam offense against Oiler quarterback Jim Ritchie and former Notre Dame and Washington Redskins star Reggie Brooks. Barcelona visits Amsterdam this Sunday at 6 on Fox Sportsnet. Check local listings. One out in the fourth. Derek Jeter fouls off the first pitch from Erickson. Jeter grounded into a 4-6-3 double play. His first time up. Looking to extend his hitting streak as the winds continue to swirl here at Yankee Stadium. Derek Jeter checking his eye. Papers blowing all over the infield and the outfield. One and one. Derek Jeter third in the American League, 341, behind Pudge Rodriguez and Todd Walker. Jeter also tied for the Yankee lead in home runs with 7, and he's stolen 10 bases.
How about that Todd Walker? He's the guy that got a chance to play at second base because Chuck Knobloch got traded to the Yankees. You just never know in this game. Todd Walker, of course, is an outstanding college player, 3-time All-American at LSU. Derek Jeter, it's an interesting competition that Derek Jeter has with Alex Rodriguez. They're real good friends. Now, you're talking about two guys almost the same size, play the same position, and they are very competitive with one another. Of course, Alex Rodriguez is just tearing the cover off the ball, having a battle with Ken Griffey to see who leads the American League in home runs.
And Jeter and Rodriguez stay with each other when the Yankees play in Seattle and Seattle plays here in New York.
When you think about it, you know, it's kind of cyclical. You'll see guys come along in the same position, are outstanding players. Garcia Parra fits in that group, Gutzelanek. All of a sudden you see a lot of great or very good young shortstop. You're also seeing a lot of good right fielders, for example, with Jose Guillen with the Pirates. Vladimir Guerrero up with the Expos. It's strange how they come along. You know, it's not just one ball club's need. It's just the way cyclically in the game there are some outstanding young players in the same position.
One away in the fourth. 2-2 the count on Jeter with Paul O'Neill on deck. And Erickson strikes out Jeter. Second consecutive strikeout, 5th of the game for Erickson. And time for another Fox Sportsnet game break. The Devil Rays and the Blue Jays as Jose Canseco hits his 15th home run of the year in the 3rd inning. And then in the 7th, hits Canseco again on former Yankee Jim Bashir, his 16th of the season. Blue Jays over the Devil Rays by the score of 6-1. So a pair for Jose Canseco, rejuvenated this year in Toronto. Paul O'Neill struck out his first time up and falls behind 0-2.
Well, you see a lot of games this year where guys with 2 home runs in a particular game, and of course McGuire hit 3 the other night, probably counted for 6. He hit them so far. But last night Damian Easley hit 2 for Detroit. Tonight Canseco smacks out 2. You're seeing a lot of multiple home run games this year.
The 0-2 from Erickson, and O'Neill hits this one into right center. Anderson calls for it, makes the catch. 3rd consecutive 1-2-3 inning as O'Neill slams the helmet in frustration. 4 innings complete. 1-0 Orioles.
À la différence d'autres fonds internationaux, l'American Century International Growth Fund est constitué société par société. Jisaini, Heisha no management chimua, Sekaju o mawate, Sorizori no kaisho eravimashita. Dessutom behärskar vårt team sånt språk tillsammans slik att alla förstår ett enaste ord. Performance. Call 1-800-321-3219.
I have to call home.
What's wrong?
I need to check in on Bobby.
Hello?
Bobby?
Hey, Dad.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Did you mow the lawn?
I now?
Yes!
Introducing the smooth riding Kubota TG lawn tractor. Don't be surprised if you get attached to it.
Dad, I gotta go. Something's burning.
Whatever. Bye-bye.
It's a game of arms, legs, and feet, of force and finesse, where 9 men play 9 other men for 9 innings for just one reason: to come home one more time than the other guys. Major League Baseball. Don't miss a minute. Player stats, exclusive chats. The only way to get closer to the game is to be in the dugout. MajorLeagueBaseball.com. What a sight to see.
What an evening so far for Scott Erickson, who's allowed only 1 Yankee hit over the first 4. And Erickson will now watch from the dugout as B.J. Surhoff leads off the 5th inning for the Orioles against Andy Pettitte, who made a mistake in the 4th inning, allowing a 2-out solo home run off the bat of Rafael Palmeiro. And again, a first pitch strike for Andy Pettitte.
That's so important. If you can get ahead for any pitcher, but especially one who's struggling just a little bit, get ahead of every hitter that you can. You've got a chance. Then you can go to other pitches and mess around a little bit. But if you're constantly pitching from behind, those hitters sit up there and just stand on the pitch, especially a fastball. Pettitte at 49 pitches now.
He threw 131 in his last outing, a loss to Minnesota on Friday, 4 shy of his career high of 135.
Now they watch his pitch count. He had some tender elbow problems in the past, and of course he had a tender back last year. I asked Mel Stottlemyre, the Yankee pitching coach, also before the game, if anything was bothering him physically. He said no, it's not a thing physically that he's having a problem with at this point. Say he's a tremendous competitor and very much the perfectionist, as I mentioned before.
And 6-1 lifetime against Baltimore, and he falls behind 3 balls, 1 strike.
I like the way B.J. Surhoff plays. You know, time flies. B.J. worked out here at Yankee Stadium as a high school kid when I was coaching with the Yankees.
Full count.
And he was the best looking kid I think I've ever seen in a major league tryout or workout. You know, remember all that in those days in the early 80s, we had Reggie Jackson and Dave Winfield and a lot of big names out in this field. And this kid came out and hit balls in the right field seats, threw rockets across the infield. He was an infielder at the time before he went to the University of North Carolina.
Strike 3 called. So Surhoff punched out. He does not agree with the call. Second strikeout for Pettitte. 1 away in the 5th. Next week on Baseball Thursday, Mo Vaughn and the Red Sox visit Yankee Stadium. Some of you will see the Arizona Diamondbacks and the San Francisco Giants. Check local listings for the game in your area. Surhoff punched out. Here's Lenny Webster, who flies to center, his first time out.
You know, if you can pitch the way Andy Pettitte just did, he moved the ball in and out on B.J. Surhoff. Got him to chase a bad ball in and then went down and away from him. He can be plenty successful.
Strike called, 1-1.
Now you can hear the Oriole dugout screaming that the ball is low. That's the only thing you can see from the dugout. You can't tell whether it's in or out, but you can tell height. So if they think it's too high or too low, they'll let the umpire know that they're helping him. We're trying to help him.
It's worth trying. 1-2.
Ooh, that's that cutter. You see a left-hander throw the ball in on a right-hander like that. See that little movement right at the end? That is a nasty pitch.
The 1-2 from Pettitte. Punch to shallow right, and the catch is made over the shoulder by the second baseman Knobloch.
Oh, baby. You don't see a better play than this by any infielder running with his back to the plate. This is not a high pop-up. This is a great play. You're running hard. You're jiggling. Look at it. He puts his hand up and catches that ball as he's running the other way. This is an outstanding play.
Look what I found, says Chuck. Well, he might not be doing with the bat so far this season, but certainly proving his worth in the field. 2 outs for Mike Bordick, who also turned in a stellar play in the field earlier tonight with Bernie Williams at the plate and the second with the backhand play, throws it across.
Now, these two teams can play very, very good defense, and with Knobloch coming over here at second base to go along with Jeter in the middle, bringing Brocious to third, now that Yankee infield, Tino Martinez is an excellent first baseman. That Yankee infield rivals this Oriole infield.
And we talk about what Bordick has been able to do with the Orioles in the field over the last 2 years. He and Brocious, the Yankees' third baseman, there's Knobloch, but Bordick and Brocious comprise the left side of the infield for the Oakland A's.
Yes.
For a couple of seasons.
It was interesting that before Mike Bordick decided to sign as a free agent with the Orioles, he called Rifkin first to see what he thought about that move. And of course, Rifkin said, yes, I don't mind moving to third base if it's in spring training where I have time to work on it. He didn't like the idea the year before that, making the move during the year. That's tough to do after all those years playing shortstop.
When Manny Alexander was recalled mid-season by the Orioles. Ball 4, first walk of the game on either side as Bordick heads down to first.
The center fielder, Brady.
Back in the 4th inning, the Palmeiro home run came with 2 outs, and now Pettit retires the first 2 Orioles in the 5th and walks Bordick. And now the top of the order with Brady Anderson.
Well, let's see what he does. He started him off with curveballs each of the first 2 at-bats. And he better be careful. Brady is starting to swing the bat better. He's getting healthy again. He had the shoulder and rib problem. And he is very strong. And when he gets in a groove, he can mash a ball. So Andy Pettit has got to be very careful.
Anderson 0 for 2, and there's a curve for strike 1.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Now, if you're Brady Anderson, do you sit there and guess and look for the breaking ball, or you still look for the fastball? The good hitters have their own game plan of what they want to do. They might say, I'm going to look fastball until 2 strikes and then defend the area. But the Yankees' book on Brady is not to start him off with a fastball.
Bordick, the runner on first, the 0-1. Outside, 1-1.
Brady Anderson has had such a slow start this year. And you realize at this point he's only got 13 hits. And we're well into the season, but he has been really hurt. Played hurt each of the last 3 years. Wouldn't even leave the lineup 2 years ago with appendicitis.
And 4 of his 13 hits have been home runs. And Brady was on the DL earlier this year, but last year during one of his injury-plagued stretches, he said his gauge in his mind as to whether or not he should sit out is would Cal play?
Well, tough to judge by Cal, but the fact of the matter is the injury he had this year really affected his swing. It was where his ribs and clavicle meet, and it was really a difficult time to try to swing the bat with an injury like that.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
And kind of what you've seen Andy Pettit and Joe Girardi do on Brady Anderson, starting with a curveball, then miss with 1 low and away, then throw him a high cutter. Now it's 1 and 2. A lot of things you can do here if you're Pettit and Girardi. You can run the ball in on the hands, or you can throw a breaking ball low and away to see if he'll chase it.
Pettit misses 2 and 2.
I think that was a fastball. That was 90-mile-an-hour fastball that they just threw off the outside part of the plate. And if you have a hitter who's having a problem, and here's the pitch again. Look, it almost looks like it runs a little bit like that cutter he throws. Maybe that's a 90-mile-an-hour cutter. But if you're a hitter who's pulling off the ball a little bit, that is a tough pitch to hit.
Line drive base hit into left field. So Bordick moves down to second. And the Orioles with 2 base runners.
Well, this was a good at-bat by Brady Anderson, but it's a mistake pitch. If you get the ball up in the strike zone. Now, we talked about Andy Pettit getting behind hitters, but also when I talked to Mel Stottlemyre, and you see Mel sitting there next to Willie Randolph, he's making mistakes out over the plate occasionally when he's ahead. See how the ball's up? The ball up to a left-hander. A left-handed hitter facing a left-handed pitcher, especially when a left-hander's ahead of him, becomes a high ball hitter. If that ball's down and away, then that might be a ground ball to the left side of the infield.
So 2 men on, 2 out. Jeffrey Hammond's 0 for 2. Called out on strikes his last time up. And a strike called. Andy Pettitte has retired the first 2 Orioles in each inning so far. All 4 of their base hits have come with 2 outs.
Well, that's pretty good pitching if you can stay ahead. Even if, say, you give up a couple hits, then you only have to get the 1 out. But if it's the other way around, if you've got the no outs and you've given up those hits, you got a lot of work to do. And the offense can do a lot of different things if they don't have 2 outs.
High and tight, 1-1.
Well, this is interesting. Now, Jeffrey Hammonds originally when he first came up had a closed stance, and you can see his hit zone. He likes the ball up and in normally. They're pitching him at the letters right now because he closed his stance up a little bit. They're running everything in at him. That's how they struck him out before inside, but they're trying to keep the ball in on him. He handles the ball very well out over the plate. He was an All-American at Stanford. As we mentioned, he's from Scotch Plains, New Jersey. And he went to Stanford and became an All-American. He has been hurt a lot during his career. I really believe that this kid, if he stays healthy, could be an all-star. But Andy Pettitte and Joe Girardi have really been pounding him hard in. Now, Girardi went out to make sure they were on the same page on what they wanted to how to pitch Jeffrey Hammonds. You don't want to get halfway in the middle of your delivery and not be sure where both of you agreed to throw the pitch.
Off-speed pitch, and Hammonds bounces it foul into the Orioles dugout, 1-2.
Now watch Joe Girardi catch. He will wait till the very last second before he gets into the position where he wants the pitch thrown. That's so nobody in the Oriole dugout or even Jeffrey Hammonds, if he's peeking down, can see where he's going for location. He'll wait right till the last second.
High 2-2.
See how he moved at the last second? Now there's also an adjustment. There's also an adjustment made by Jeffrey Hammonds. He's opened his stance up, but Joe Girardi at the last minute slid inside. But Jeffrey Hammonds has opened his stance like he's looking for the ball in right now. Let's see where the Yankees decide to go.
Hammonds steps out of the box. Bordick, the runner, on second. Anderson down at first. Orioles leading 1-0, 2 outs in the 5th. Pettitte has thrown 24 pitches this inning. He retired the first 2 Orioles. Runners going, the 2-2 outside. Girardi fires to third, safe. A double steal, Bordick and Anderson.
Well, it's been said that, and Maury Wills, a great Dodger base stealer, always said it was easy to steal third base, especially on a left-handed pitcher, because they have difficulty seeing you. But here's Girardi. He gets up in a hurry, goes behind the hitter, throws a good throw, but Bordick had a great jump. Now here you see Bordick coming in. He's got a good jump and beats the throw, even though the throw was a good one.
Bordick's second steal of the season. Anderson 6th. Ball 4. So Hammonds heads down to first, and the bases are full of Orioles.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, it's a game between the pitcher and the hitter with the catcher involved, and they were really trying to work Jeffrey Hammonds. They were trying to strike him out, and they had gotten him out earlier on the inside part of the plate, and they tried to run one in there. That's not so bad with an open base at first base. If you're going to miss farther in. Don't miss over the plate.
Alomar with the bases loaded. Pettitte quickly off the mound. Fires. He got him. So Pettitte retired the first 2, loaded the bases, and escapes.
No one ever asks, do you want leafy greens with that?
I'll have a double cheeseburger, fries, and coffee.
Well, sometimes it's hard to eat right.
95.
That's why GNC's Mega Men multivitamins have a complete combination of 41 vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, herbs, and other ingredients. Because recommended daily allowances almost never come to go. Mega Men multivitamins, exclusively at General Nutrition Centers. GNC. Live well.
Thursday on Fox Sportsnet is brought to you by Canon. So advanced, it's simple. And by 10321. Just dial it and save up to 50%. Kenny Albert, Jeff Torborg back in the Bronx. Finale of a 3-game series. Yankees won the first two, 9-5 on Tuesday, 9-6 on Wednesday. There's Tito Martinez sitting out his second consecutive game after he was hit in the upper back by a pitch from Armando Benitez on Tuesday night. Tito in the Yankees' original lineup about 3 hours prior to game time, but a late change, so he watches. His teammates trail the Orioles 1-0, a solo home run off the bat of Rafael Palmeiro in the 4th inning. And Bernie Williams leading off the Yankees' 5th. Takes ball 1. Williams grounded out to the shortstop, Bordick, his first time up. Erickson has retired the last 12 Orioles following a leadoff single in the first by Knobloch. Strike called, 1-1.
Well, we were talking between innings, Kenny, that Erickson, who pitched a no-hitter in 1994 against Milwaukee, has no-hitter type stuff tonight. Even though he's given up a hit, his sinker has been down and active, and he's had a nasty slider against right-handers. And when he's thrown an off-speed pitch, he's kept it down, and he's been so effective.
And Williams fouls it off down the left field line, a long foul.
It's amazing to watch a pitcher like this. The minute he elevates the ball a little bit, the ball goes in the air, and even though that went foul. That was not his good sinker. When he has his good sinker down in the strike zone, he gets ground balls. And that ball was just a little bit up. And the same was true of Andy Pettitte. We were talking about the ball that Brady Anderson hit the left field before. That's, you elevate it, so does the hitter.
2 fly ball outs so far. Everything else a strikeout or a ground out. 5 strikeouts for Erickson. 2-2.
He has really got nasty stuff. You can see that breaking ball. That was a breaking ball he threw way in on the left-handed hitters. In the old days, people didn't pitch left-handed hitters low and in. They try to go away, and Bernie Williams' hit zone from the left side of the plate likes the ball up over the plate, surprisingly. Lenny Webster was hoping that was a strike.
Williams a .344 lifetime average against Erickson.
This guy stepped it up as a player in the last couple of years. He's probably even a better hitter right-handed than he is left-handed, but boy, he has done some job for the Yankees.
And that is strikeout number 6 as Bernie Williams heads back to the Yankee dugout. And Erickson has retired 12 consecutive Yankees.
Well, surprisingly enough, this pitch is right in the middle of the plate, but it's an off-speed pitch. It's 83 miles an hour instead of 90-something. See, it's a breaking ball, but it's right in the middle of the plate because it's enough off-speed. It fools Bernie Williams, and he swings right through it or over it. Yeah, he's just over the top of it, and it's the change of speeds that got him. That was not real good location.
Here's Tim Raines, who flies to center. His first time up, and Raines takes strike 1.
Normally Erickson, or any good sinker baller, does not strike that many people out. He's got 6 strikeouts, as you mentioned, Kenny. But that shows how sharp his ball is breaking tonight.
His season high is 7. Outside, 1-1.
And that camera shot we're showing you from center field, you can see the ball diving. You can see what hitters have to contend with.
The 1-1 to Raines. As Ripken and Bordick converge, the catch is made by Ripken, 2 away in the 5th. Well, Sunday on Fox Sportsnet, it's Formula One racing. The season shifts into high gear as Michael Schumacher looks to repeat at Monte Carlo and help Ferrari close the gap on Mika Hakkinen and the McLarens. The Monaco Grand Prix, Sunday at 2:30 on Fox Sportsnet. Check local listings. 2 away in the 5th. Chad Curtis struck out his first time up. Falls behind. 0-1. Scott Erickson making his second start since he agreed to a new 5-year, $32 million contract last Wednesday, which will take him through the year 2003.
You wonder, that's a lot of years for a pitcher, but this guy is a big horse, big, strong guy, gives you innings, never hurt, and he has an unbelievable workout regimen.
And the Orioles felt, why not give it to a guy that we have? We know what he can do, as opposed to spending more on the free agent market.
Absolutely. And a guy you know is healthy and strong and resilient.
And the Orioles had already locked up Ripken, Messina, and Anderson to long-term contracts. Erickson is the latest, and they still will have 12 pending free agents following this season. As we check out some of the numbers on Erickson, 3 complete games, tied for the major league lead in that category with Kurt Schilling.
That 200-plus innings in 6 out of 7 years is an indicator that the guy has a strong arm, must have a nice delivery. In order to throw those many innings without hurting something, you got to have a nice, smooth delivery and be strong. He has all of that. Boy, he has a nasty sinker. He and Kevin Brown have 2 of the hardest sinkers we'll see.
And that is the first walk issued by Erickson. He had retired 13 consecutive Yankees.
Well, it'd be interesting in this situation right now to see if the Yankees try to run. Now, that's Mike Flanagan, the pitching coach, and of course they haven't had too much to cheer about in that Baltimore side of the field for a while. But the Yankees are an aggressive team. Joe Torre does not mind running, and he's got a club that can run. Chad Curtis has stolen 6 bases in 7 attempts. And as we mentioned earlier, Scott Erickson is the type of pitcher that you can run on, and his catcher, Lenny Webster, had surgery on his elbow over the winter, so that's not a great combination. Even though the Yankees are down a run, they might be aggressive here.
Only the Blue Jays in the American League have stolen more bases than the Yankees. 2 outs, Curtis the runner on first. Brocious 0 for 1, struck out his first time up back in the 3rd inning. 0-1.
Well, if we get a shot of Chad Curtis at first base taking a lead, you'll see when he gets out that he gets his right foot, his foot closest towards second base, open. Whenever you do that, that means you get a good crossover. Watch his right foot, or the one closest to second base, it's open. That means you can take your left foot and turn right over, and you're on the way to second base quicker. It's the guys that end up with their feet parallel, or their right foot not open, that make them veer their way all the way to second base. Curtis is trying to get a read here. You often look as a manager in the dugout for happy feet. So how he's digging his feet in. There he goes.
There goes Curtis. Here's the throw from Webster, and he's safe with his 7th stolen base of the season. Stolen base number 50 for the Yankees.
Lenny Webster didn't have much of a chance on this ball, but you can see his feet get going. Look at that. That is a nice start, and he takes a look in to see where the pitch is. But he makes that easily. Wow, he almost turned his ankle bouncing over the base.
Back to the box. Erickson to Palmeiro. And that retires the Yankees in the 5th. The 2-out walk, and Curtis is stranded.
This is Imagine TV.
Let's go to the big screen.
This May during Mercury's Imagine TV event, it's the Mercury Sable LS Touring Edition. Tune in for just $249 a month and see this exciting cast of extras. No charge leather seating surfaces, no charge moonroof, and no charge ABS. That's a $2,235 value plus $1,500 cash back for $3,735 total savings.
This just in. Cougar loose on the streets of the city.
Till next time, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Get the most comprehensive recap of the night's news, highlights, analysis, features, and much more on Toyota Sports Night. Neil Hartman, Leslie Goodell, Michael Barkan, Pat Boyle, Derek Gunn, Pete Christie, and Dee Lynham bring you everything you need to know about your home teams. If it's Philadelphia sports you want, then it's Toyota Sports Night you need. Toyota Sports Night on Comcast Sportsnet, your sports network.
This is Derek Gunn. Tune in each week right here on Comcast Sportsnet as Brute presents Pennant Chase.
Cut to the chase for an insightful look at the world of Major League Baseball, including Baseball Inside Out with views from former Major Leaguer Billy Sample. Fantasy Baseball reports with our rotisserie experts. And each week's best plays and biggest moments as Brute presents Pennant Chase right here on Comcast Sportsnet.
Welcome back to Baseball Thursday from Yankee Stadium. Kenny Albert with Jeff Torborg. We move to the top of the 6th inning. Orioles with a 1-0 lead over the Yankees. And the man stepping to the plate for Baltimore, responsible for the game's only run, Rafael Palmeiro, with a 2-out solo shot his last time up in the 4th inning. He had been 5 of his last 28. Palmeiro now with 2 home runs in the series. Hit 1 last night in the 9th inning. Palmeiro 1 for 2 tonight. And he has his 2nd consecutive base hit, a leadoff single here in the 6th. So the Orioles have the leadoff man on for the first time tonight.
That was a pretty good pitch. That was a breaking ball away from him. He just rode it right back through the middle. Palmeiro, of course, has had a heck of a career. Will be a free agent at the end of this season. There's a lot of talk about his leaving the Orioles and going out back to Texas where he played before. But here's the breaking ball. Not a bad pitch. Maybe just a little too high in the strike zone. You wonder how a hitter is, unless he's sitting there looking for a good breaking ball, how he gets on that first pitch.
So with Palmeiro on first, here's Joe Carter, 1 for 2. Singled in his last plate appearance. And he takes ball 1.
We were talking about Palmeiro. Palmeiro last year, his average slipped. He only hit 254. In other years, 94 he had 319, 95, 310, 289, and 96. But with a lot of power numbers.
Fouled hard down the third base line, 1-1.
When you think of what Palmeiro has done from the standpoint of run production, 1995, 39 home runs, 104 RBIs. 1996, 39 home runs again with 142 RBIs. And last year, 38 home runs and 110 RBIs. See, this guy has a nice looking stroke. And then talk about RBIs. This guy, Joe Carter, is one of the best run producers since the mid-'80s in the game.
Now back 1-2.
Who'll ever forget that home run to win the World Series for Toronto? Jumping around the bases off of Mitch Williams and the Phillies.
1993.
1993 to finish the World Series. Winning a World Series with a home run, what a feeling that must be.
And Mitch Williams returned to the vet in Philadelphia earlier this month and filled in as the public address announcer.
Did they boo him?
Tough town when the PA announcer gets booed.
Oh, boy. I had a bad game one time on White's birthday, and my wife's birthday was announced on the board, and she got booed.
The 1-2 to Carter. And that is strikeout number 3 for Andy Pettitte. 1 away in the 6th.
This was a good pitch down low and in. Andy Pettitte, we talked about, has got to keep the ball down with his breaking stuff if he's going to be effective. The only time they seem to hit him tonight is when he's gotten the ball up over the plate a little bit.
Carter now 1 for 3. 1 out in the 6th. Palmeiro with the leadoff single, the runner on first. Cal Ripken 1 for 2. Playing in consecutive game number 2,524.
That's beyond my comprehension. I was fortunate enough to be broadcasting a game when he broke the record, Bill Gary's record. But to continue what he's doing is incredible. And if you see his hit zone, he's basically a high ball hitter. Typical right-handed power hitter. Has trouble with the ball low and away. But you can get him out in also.
Bounce foul to the left side, 0-2.
And if you're a pitcher standing so close to the plate by the time you deliver the ball, as we saw last Thursday when that ball went back to the middle off of Sandy Alomar Jr.'s bat and hit Mike Mussina in the face, and yesterday there was a game, Trey Moore, the left-hander, Maxwell somehow caught a ball at his head. And yesterday, Tapani got hit by a ball by Bobby Bonilla off his arm. Well, one of the ways to keep the ball from going back through the middle is to pitch the hitters inside. It's the ball out over the plate that they line back through the middle.
And we mentioned Ripken did a line drive off Pettit last year.
Yes.
At Yankee Stadium in September, which knocked Pettit out after just one inning. And their second base umpire, Drew Coble, coming in to chat with the home plate umpire, Ted Henry.
They must be seeing somebody flashing something. There's a light on somewhere or something they're concerned about. Drew Coble's a crew chief, and he's talking to Joe Torre about somebody in the stands is flashing something, and the infielders are having trouble seeing.
It's been quite a week for Drew Coble. He was behind the plate last Thursday when Messina got hit with the line drive against Cleveland. And then Coble was also the home plate umpire here at Yankee Stadium on Tuesday night during the bench clearing brawl.
Coble's a very good umpire. It's a good staff here. Jim Young at first base. Larry Young, excuse me, I'm thinking of umpiring in the National League. Larry Young is a wrestling official as well when he's not umpiring Major League games.
And Ripken fouls it back, so the count remains 0 balls, 2 strikes.
Now, this wrestling I'm talking about is professional wrestling, and he does some, I don't know whether, what would you call that? I guess when you go from professional baseball to professional wrestling, 2-sport umpire?
The Bo Jackson of umpiring?
Yes. But anyway, if I get his name right, Larry Young, very good umpire. Good, this is a good crew.
But they're not called umpires in wrestling, are they? Officials.
Referees.
Peacemakers?
I don't know what they're called, to be honest with you, but there's Dale Ford on our shot at the third base, on the third base line. If somebody's flashing a light, you'd think they'd be flashing a light at the infielders of the Orioles if it's a Yankee fan, not when the Yankees are in the field.
The 0-2 from Pettit. And he strikes out Ripken. Second consecutive strikeout for Pettit and his 4th of the evening.
Now this is that big curveball we were talking about. He gets right on top of it and it dives. Watch how this goes down. Boy, that is a nasty, nasty breaking ball. As you see, Rip swing right over the top of this pitch.
Ripken now 1 for 3 tonight as Pettit fires over to first. Palmeiro gets back. B.J. Surhoff with 2 away in the 6th. 0 for 2.
B.J. Surhoff's talking to himself. That's such a good pickoff move. I think B.J. thought Pettit was coming home with the throw to first base.
Pettit has already picked off 2 base runners this year as Surhoff singles to right. Palmeiro holds up at second. So again, the Orioles with a couple of runners on base with 2 outs. They loaded the bases with 2 outs in the 5th inning.
Well, we were talking also about you got a left-handed hitter up, you got a runner at first base. There's a great big hole on the right side because the first baseman's holding the runner on. And we also talked about B.J. Surhoff. He has been as consistent a player for the Orioles as they've had all year. And he's a guy who is very tough against left-handed pitching because he doesn't commit early. So against Andy Pettit, he didn't give and took that ball through the hole on the right side.
2 men on, 2 outs. Lenny Webster 0 for 2. Orioles not very successful with men on base last night. They were 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Back in the 5th inning tonight, Alomar bounced out with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Palmeiro down at second. Surhoff the runner on first. Orioles leading 1-0 on Palmeiro's 9th home run of the season in the 4th inning. And a called strike, 0-2.
Well, they've gone to the breaking ball. That's what you call a backdoor curveball. When people say, what do you mean by backdoor? It means it's a curveball that you dump over the outside part of the plate. An example, left-hander to a right-hander will just spin it over the outside part of the plate, and that was a nasty curveball by Andy Pettitte. Basically the same pitch, downer curveball that he threw to Ripken for a strikeout. Now they got a couple pitches to play with here. Girardi and Pettitte do.
The 0-2. And Pettitte just misses inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's interesting how they're working now. That was a curveball low and in. They had thrown a curveball low and away. Now they went low and in. Now they also run what we call a cutter, which is a fastball he turns a little bit in at the letters, up in the zone a little bit, inside.
The 1-2 from Pettitte. High and tight, 2-2.
That was the cutter. You can see Joe Girardi setting it up. He gets antsy. Now there'll be somebody in the dugout for the Orioles or both sides of the plate watching the catcher. So the catcher has to be very careful how he moves his feet. If he starts showing too early which way he's going, he can be giving pitches away. So Joe Girardi, as we mentioned earlier, is waiting to the last minute. There's a set of signs.
Pettitte, who was ahead 0-2, now falls behind 3-2. And is 1 pitch away from loading the bases for the 2nd consecutive inning.
Well, here's Joe sliding way in. He wants to make sure this is way in. This is another cutter. So now their sequence has been they threw 2 curveballs, 1 outside, 1 low and in, and then 2 cutters inside. Now it's 3-2. Let's see where they go.
Runners going. And Webster bounces it to the third baseman. Rushes across the swing. And that does it for the Orioles in the 6th. They strand 2 and still lead the Yankees 1-0.
The Tax Time Blues. Four- and 5-star tax-free bond funds from American Century. Just call. Thank you. 1-800-660-0092.
I have to call home.
What's wrong?
I need to check in on Bobby. Bobby?
Hey, Dad.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Did you mow the lawn?
No.
Yes!
Introducing the smooth riding Kubota TG lawn tractor. Don't be surprised if you get attached to it.
Dad, I gotta go. Something's burning.
Whatever. Bye-bye.
Let me tell you something about heroes. They ain't like you and me. Look at Drippy. The way he taps the spikes and grows the teeth, punches the glove and flips the lid, signs the hat, eats the dirt, and twirls the lumber, warms it up and works the crowd. The way he holds the pose, slams the wall, anticipates, and always thanks his mother. Let me tell you about guys like him. They ain't just playing stick.
This is Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr. with Reality Bat for infinite swings. It's only on N64, only on Nintendo Sports.
1-0 lead for the Orioles as we move to the bottom half of the 6th inning from Yankee Stadium, and American Century Mutual Funds presents the play of the century. Some sports writers and critics call it the record with an asterisk. Yankee outfielder Roger Maris chases the legacy of Babe Ruth up until the final game of the 1961 season. With the game scoreless, Maris takes Tracy Stowler deep and into the record book. The only man to hit 61 home runs in the regular season. Roger Maris of the Yankees back in 1961. Babe Ruth, of course, hit his 60 home runs in 1927. Maris's plaque in Monument Park in left center field here at Yankee Stadium.
Boy, what an accomplishment that was. Roger Maris's hair started falling out as he was chasing the record. Can you imagine chasing the legend in the same pinstripes in the house that Ruth built? It had to be awful tough.
Joe Girardi on a 1-1 count. Grounded out his only time up back in the 3rd inning. It was expected that Jorge Posada would take over as the #1 catcher for the Yankees by next season. But that schedule has moved up a bit. A rare start tonight for Girardi. Posada received a lot of credit following the perfect game pitched by David Wells on Sunday afternoon. Wells shook off Posada only twice.
Well, I think the catcher should get a lot of credit for the perfect game.
I figured you would. As one who has caught multiple no-hitters.
Well, I was very fortunate to catch the great Sandy Koufax. It wouldn't have mattered what signal I put down. They all worked. But for a youngster, and talking to David Wells today coming into the ballpark, what a thrill it was for him. Can you imagine what a thrill it was for young Posada here at Yankee Stadium?
Strike called, 3-2.
David Wells is a great story, too. He's just a real free spirit. Joe Torre might describe him otherwise. You know, this guy has been a trial for the managers that he played for. But he's a good competitor, boy. He's a tough, tough pitcher.
And Girardi with the Yankees' second base hit of the game. Both have deflected off an infielder's glove. This time, Alomar got a piece of it. Knobloch and the Yankees' first hit, leading off the first, and it deflected off the glove of the shortstop, Morton. Well, we talked about Maris and his 61 home runs. This season, Mark McGwire of the Cardinals has already reached 20. He hit 3 against the Phillies on Monday night.
And one was farther than the other. This was unbelievable. He just kept tattooing in the upper deck. I mean, it's just amazing what this guy can do.
McGwire had the next night off. Gary Gaetti took his place as the Cardinals' first baseman, and Gaetti hit a pair of home runs. He said, maybe I've been playing the wrong position all these years. So the Yankees with the leadoff man on. Here's Swaim looking for his first hit of the season. He's 0 for 11, starting in place of Tino Martinez tonight. Luis Sojo was the Yankees' first baseman last night. McGwire with 20, and this, of course, prior to today. We saw earlier Jose Canseco with a pair in the American League. Canseco now with 16 home runs. Those were the National League leaders. McGwire on top with 20. Nearly 1/3 of the way there.
That's amazing. And we just looked at just a strategy right there. The Orioles thought there might have been a hit and run on. Now, Joe Girardi is a guy who can steal bases. He's a catcher who a couple years ago stole 13 bases, I believe, for the Yankees. But I think Ray Miller was thinking, well, the Yankees are trying to force the issue a little bit here. They might try something like a hit and run. Because, as you mentioned, Swaim does not have a hit. And he has been a bench player. He's been a good player. Now, last year, of course, he had a good year. Playing for Pittsburgh, he had 261. He had 12 home runs. He's got some pop in his back. But it's tough playing ever so seldom. 10 at-bats in a season is not easy for anyone when you get them once a week.
Oh, a nice play, but Morton could not handle the wild toss from Alomar. Everybody's safe.
Now, this would have been a sensational play. Robbie Alomar missed the ball going to his left that Girardi hit, and now with this ball, he ranges way over behind second base, backhands the ball, and then around his back, but it kind of catches in his hand, and he throws it too high. And Girardi hustling to second. He should have been sliding on that play because he almost came off the base. See how he almost came off the base, and they could have called him out afterwards. But here's the play. Would have been a sensational play, but the feed was a little high.
So an error on the toss charged to Alomar, his 4th of the season. And the Yankees with 2 men on, nobody out. Top of the order, Knobloch punts it down the third base line. And Ripken throws it away.
things happened in this play. It was a perfect bunt. This is like a base hit bunt, and Knobloch is so good at it. Ripken fields the ball because Knobloch can run so well. The throw and Knobloch and the second baseman come together at the same time at first base. And it's one of those strange plays. Here comes this perfect bunt. Here's Ripken throwing the ball, trying to hit Alomar on the run. But the runner and the ball and Alomar were getting to first base at the same time. I've seen some of the worst injuries in baseball on that play.
Only the second error of the season committed by Ripken. 2 Oriole errors here in the 6th. The Yankees have tied it. Still nobody out. Runners on second and third. Swain down at third base. Knobloch, the runner on second. And Jeter bounces it foul to the left side.
But Kenny, how important is defense? How important is defense? The first ball that Joe Girardi hit barely got past Robbie Alomar at second base. Then Alomar makes an error at second base, keeps the inning going with no outs, 2 runners on. Then a perfect bunt. Cal Ripken's throw and the runner arrive at the same time. There's another error. And look where you are. Now, what has Scott Erickson done wrong? Nothing.
Ball has barely left the infield. Here in the 6th inning. The leadoff single by Girardi off the glove of the second baseman. Alomar had rolled it to right, but that has been it. As Jeter stays alive, Orioles coming in have committed only 26 errors on the season, 4th fewest in the American League, but they commit 2 here in the 6th inning.
Well, it's interesting to see the defensive lineup now, or setup, that Ray Miller has his infield in. He's got the third baseman and first baseman basically in. The second baseman's halfway, and the shortstop back a little bit. And you wonder what that does. Normally you think either everybody plays up or you play back in the middle and you give up the run. But Ray Miller can't do that. His ball club is not scoring much. He's going to try to cut the run off, and that's awful tough to bring an infield up in 3 parts of it with none out and 2 runners on. A ball gets through and 2 runs score. A lot of managers will change their strategy, especially when you have 2 strikes on the hitter. You might pull the infield up a little bit. But Derek Jeter is such a hot hitter. He can put the ball in play by insiding out the ball.
Strike 3 call. Strikeout number 7 for Erickson. That ties his season high.
Well, that was a nasty fastball right on the hands. And Scott Erickson has decided he's going to do it himself. He better not let anybody else hit the ball in the infield. Now, the infield is still set up the same way. The corners are basically up, in the middle are halfway. I don't know if they're trying to fool Willie Randolph with that setup, saying I better not send a runner with them playing halfway.
Here's Paul O'Neill 0 for 2 so far tonight. Yankees with 2 men on. Swain, the runner on third base. Knobloch down at second. 1 run in on 1 hit and 2 Oriole errors here in the 6th inning. The first on a wild toss by Alomar, and then a throwing error committed by Ripken. And O'Neill fouls it off into the left field stands, 1-1.
Well, we just had a great shot of O'Neill's face. You talk about concentration and an idea what you want to do. He was almost talking to himself. You could see his mouth moving. He was looking for a certain pitch, and I think he got it. He was looking for a sinker out over the plate, and he was right on it and shot it down the left field line. Now, the last time up, they pitched him very hard in. They kept trying to get him down and in. He chased a bad ball his first time up, striking out. Now they're going back away.
Check swing, and third base umpire Dale Ford says strike 2.
Paul is mad at himself here, and he's angry that he did not hold up on this swing, that he went after a bad ball. But the umpires in his check swing are almost always right on the money, and Yeah, it looked like he was angry with the umpire. He's more angry with himself than he is the umpire on that.
Batting .370 with runners in scoring position. That time Erickson misses 2-2.
Boy, that's a tough pitch to lay off. But when you're a hitter and you got runners in scoring position, they got 2 strikes on you, you're up there trying to protect that plate. Remember, the plate's 17 inches wide, but you better make sure that you can cover about 18 inches just in case the ball is just off the plate.
The 2-2 on Erickson strikes out O'Neill. Second consecutive K for Erickson as he looks to work out of a jam. Now 2 outs and 2 men on for Bernie Williams.
Scott Erickson is pitching one heck of a game. This is a breaking ball that he gets down in the strike zone. A little off speed, 82 miles an hour as opposed to the 90s. And that is a heck of a pitch. And Paul O'Neill cannot hold up. But it's not over yet. This is one of the things I always warned our pitchers about when I was managing or coaching. You got the 2 toughest outs with a runner on less than 2 outs at third base, but don't let up. If you're Erickson now, you can't let up. You got a real good hitter at the plate in Bernie Williams.
Strike 1 called. Williams 0 for 2, struck out his last time up. Erickson with 8 strikeouts. His career best is 10. And the Yankees 0 for 4 tonight with runners in scoring position. 2 men on. Swain down at third base. Knobloch, the runner on second. That is where they were with nobody out. Erickson has struck out 2 in a row. Williams to the shortstop, Bordick. And that will do it for the Yankees in the 6th. They tie the score, but Erickson works out of a jam. Orioles commit 2 errors, including 1 by Ripken.
Chevy is an expert in sport utility vehicles, but we know one size does not fit all. So, we make 3. Take Chevy Blazer, driver control system, great look inside and out, and it's big. If you want more room, look at Chevy Tahoe. It's even bigger. And then there's Chevy Suburban. It's the biggest SUV on the planet. Big, bigger, biggest. Chevy's the only one with 3 SUVs, each one a perfect fit. Shop Chevy now.
I am the red clay of Roland Garros. I've conquered champions and crushed their foes. I take away power. I control the pace. I challenge wits and confuse the chase. Feet feel my pull. Muscles get sore. Ball feels my weight. Crowd cheers for more. I am the red clay. Hear me roar. The French Open.
A million people have Parkinson's disease with 50,000 new cases each year. There's no cure, but there is treatment and hope. It's you. On Sunday, May 31st, the Pedal for Parkinson's Bike-a-thon will raise money to help knock out this disabling disease. Bike from the Art Museum or Rosemont Station. Check local merchants for entry forms or call 215-546-9004. Anyone can get Parkinson's. On May 31st, everyone can help beat it.
David Wells, who spent the 1996 season with the Orioles, this past Sunday afternoon became only the second Yankee to pitch a perfect game here at Yankee Stadium. The first, of course, Don Larson in the 1956 World Series.
Oh, that's exciting. I've been part of a perfect game. Sandy Koufax's in 1965. That is an overwhelming feeling when that game is over.
Wells turned 35 years of age yesterday, and he will pitch again on Saturday in Boston. Wells has retired 37 consecutive batters, 10 in his previous start prior to the perfect game. And the Major League record, 41 consecutive batters retired by Jim Barr of the Giants back in 1972. Wells perfect on Sunday against the Twins. Struck out 11. Bordick hits this one to the air to left. Chad Curtis is under it. One away, and the Orioles 7th.
No, it's amazing when you think about it. Of course, Andy Pettitte has pitched a very good ball game himself, but Scott Erickson has been nearly perfect. And he's a sinker ball type pitcher, and yet with all the strikeouts he's had, his outstanding defensive infield is letting down a little bit, and it's a tie game. But it's, that's when teams are struggling, that's what happens. Nothing seems to work, and if you expect something to happen, sure enough it will, because you yourself will make it happen.
Curveball misses for ball one. Brady Anderson 1 for 3, singled his last time up. Erickson has allowed 1 unearned run on 2 hits through 6. 1-1.
It's interesting to see Scott Erickson sitting there. His head is down. It looks like he's really concentrating. And before we thought maybe he'd hurt himself because he had a towel wrapped around his hand, but I guess he just likes to keep his hand warm. A pitcher likes that feeling of the warmth in his hand because that's a touch thing when you go out to pitch. How the ball sinks is how it feels coming off your fingers.
And Anderson bunts it, held the first base line, and is tapped out by Swain. Put a little too much on it. 1 away. Check that 2 away now in the 7th. Well, Jeff, this Saturday, FX Baseball Saturday, you and I head west to Seattle. It'll be the Mariners and the Devil Rays this Saturday on FX Baseball Saturday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. And ironically, as we sit here tonight and watch the Orioles, a pair of second-year pitchers who grew up in Baltimore, both Oriole fans as youngsters. Kent Cloud will be on the mound for the Mariners, and Tony Saunders for the Devil Rays.
The Devil Rays have done a tremendous job for an expansion team so far this year. In fact, the Orioles can attest to that. The Orioles were swept at home by the Devil Rays.
Saunders pitched in the game on Sunday. Swept in a 4-game series by the Devil Rays, and they've lost the first 2 here in New York. 7 consecutive losses. They were leading the Indians 4-3 1 week ago tonight, where Mike Mussina was hit by the line drive. And they have not won a game since then. As Hammond grounds out to the shortstop, Jeter. 7th inning stretch time from Yankee Stadium. Tied at 1. As we head to the bottom of the 7th, let's take a look at what's coming your way tonight on Fox Sports News following the game. For that, we take you to the Fox Network Center.
Sony PlayStation presents this Fox Sports News Sports Break.
Along with John Walls, I'm Lano Bienvenu of Fox Sports News with this sports break. Ismael Valdez helped the Dodgers avoid a sweep at the hands of the Cubs at Wrigley Field. 7-3 was the final.
And Kirk Reeder had a one-hitter through 8 innings as the Giants down the Brewers 8-1. News scores and highlights nightly on Fox Sports News.
It's all right here on Fox Sports Net.
Gary Sheffield, outstanding bat speed. Pull the ball with the best of them.
The secret to MLB 99's realism? Scouting reports straight from the pros.
Favorite cheese Gouda. Bobby Bonilla, weakness for fastballs in the dirt. Has a dog named Snacks.
That's impressive.
I knew that. You drive a 71 Nova, make $22,000 a year, and you were a bedwetter.
Hey, better.
PlayStation.
Confronting the classic paradigm. As this matrix diagram shows, supported assimilation would be the process of aligning risk assessment protocol implied built-in system redundancy. These slides show plan, do, check, take action. It illustrates how tactical implementation and follow-up are key to assessing the viability. I'm sorry, I have to leave.
The Mitsubishi G100 wireless phone. Make something happen.
Manager Ray Miller and the Orioles suffering through a tough stretch. And 2 Baltimore errors in the bottom of the 6th led to the Yankees' run.
And that's one of their strengths. And, of course, you've got a sinker ball pitcher needing the help on the ball that he gets into the hit into the ground, or even in that situation bunted, and he didn't get any help. That's why this game is tied.
And Jim Raines leads it off for the Yankees in the bottom of the 7th. Raines 0 for 2 tonight. And there's Ripken, who committed the throwing error. 28 errors on the season for the Orioles, fourth fewest in the American League, so that has not been one of the problem spots up until tonight. Remember, it was Raines who hit the home run immediately following the brawl on Tuesday night. Bernie Williams gave the Yankees a 6-5 lead, and then Raines extended it against former Yankee Bobby Munoz. 2-1, bottom of the 7th inning. Beautiful evening at Yankee Stadium, tied at 1. Orioles scored their run in the 4th on a solo homer by Rafael Palmeiro. Scott Erickson has allowed only 2 Yankee hits. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
One of the reasons the Yankees are so resilient are, of course, their personality of their club and their manager and their coaching staff. But also, what's very important is they have a very strong bench. And with Darryl Strawberry and Tim Raines, they were able to overcome the loss of Chili Davis, who they signed to be their DH, and they don't even skip a beat.
Strawberry, of course, not available tonight, serving the second of his 3-game suspension as Erickson strikes out Raines, and Scott Erickson with 9 strikeouts, 1 shy of tying his career best.
We said early in this game that he had almost no-hitter stuff, and here's with 2 strikes. Look at this breaking ball go straight down. That is a nasty pitch. Scott Erickson has always been acknowledged to have just a biting sinker ball and a real nasty slider, but he's added to that downer breaking ball, and he's kept the ball down.
Here's Chad Curtis, 0 for 1, walked and stole second his last time up. Erickson has struck out 10 only once in his career, May of '94, ironically, against the Orioles, when he was still with the Minnesota Twins. 9 strikeouts tonight, only 1 walk. 2 base hits allowed, and 2 Yankees reached on errors.
Kenny, there was a pitch you're not going to see much from Scott Erickson. That was a high-riding fastball. He might have gone across the seams to run one up there, or it got away from him. Normally, you're going to see his ball sinking down in the zone, not up in the strike zone.
1-1 to Curtis, who lifts it into right. On the run is Hammonds, and he makes the catch. 2 away.
Now, Scott Erickson's a big guy, but see how balanced he is over the rubber. He tucks his leg in, and now before he heads to the plate, he gathers over his back leg. And as you see, every pitcher pronates with their hand, turns it over. Well, he gets the ball with the seams and finishes up. That's why, with the kind of torque he gets on the ball, he gets it to sink.
And that was only the 3rd fly ball out induced by Erickson tonight.
And that was a hang and breaking ball, and so was this one. But this is a hanger. See? No, that's the good one. Excuse me. There's a high rider, and there's the hanger right in the middle of the plate. And because his sinker is so good, it slowed up Curtis's bat, so he could not pull that hanging curveball, and he hit it to right center field. So in that sequence, you saw a downer curveball, a high-riding fastball, and then a hanging curveball. But because his fastball is so hard, it makes his breaking stuff effective.
Boy, Erickson giving the Orioles exactly what they need tonight with Mike Messina on the disabled list. The first time Messina was on the DL, Orioles went 5-10, and they are 0-7 since he was hit by the line drive last Thursday.
It's amazing, isn't it? When you have a top gun who's at the top of your pitching rotation, and he's out of there, it hurts everybody's role.
Grounded foul to the left side.
Now add to that what happened to the Orioles when you compare him to last year. Randy Myers, their closer, was not re-signed. So that changed all the roles in their bullpen as well. So it's just like a starter who is the guy who's your stopper. Your stopper in the bullpen can change the roles too. And so this pitching staff that had been rated number 2 in the league last year is now 10th.
The 1-2 bounced in front of the plate. Erickson off the mound. And he throws out Brocious. 1-2-3 inning for Scott Erickson. Tied at 1 after 7.
This is Imagine TV.
Let's go to the big screen.
This May, tune in during Mercury's Imagine TV event and catch the action-packed Mercury Mountaineer with an all-star cast and $1,975 in total savings. And on every critically acclaimed Mercury Villager, get $2,200 cash back or low 1% financing up to 48 months, even on the new multi-sport Villager, while supplies last.
This just in.
cougar loose on the streets of the city.
Till next time, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Homecoming queens with a twinkle in their eye. RC Cola and the 4th of July. It's a choice we're given. It's a life we're living. Ride on the freedoms, clear blue sky.
It's as basic as red, white, and blue. The freedom to choose the taste that's right for you. It doesn't get more American than that. So be free. Drink RC.
Comcast Sportsnet is the regional leader in breaking the most up-to-the-minute sports news. If it happens in Philadelphia sports, you'll be the first to know. Thanks to the network that brings it to you first. Comcast Sportsnet, your sports network.
With McLaren continuing to dominate, the battle for the championship is heating up. Now the war goes to the French Riviera, where Schumacher must win to stay alive. The Monaco Grand Prix, Sunday at 4 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Fox Sportsnet Baseball Thursday coming to you from the Big Apple, and we are just north, about 120 blocks north of Times Square. Scott Erickson enjoying his evening. Orioles and the Yankees tied at 1 as we head to the 8th.
Boy, has he done a heck of a job. And as he comes off the field after each inning, he looks almost like he goes through a yoga routine. He takes a deep breath, closes his eyes, and relaxes, covers his right hand. But, boy, very, very intent.
And for the Orioles here in the 8th, Alomar, Palmeiro, and Carter. Roberto Alomar leads it off. He is 0 for 3 tonight. 3 ground ball outs. Andy Pettit has allowed only 1 run as well. The 4th inning homer by Palmeiro. 1 run on 6 hits for the Orioles. 1 run on 2 hits for the Yankees. Yankees head on the road for 6 following tonight's game. 3 in Boston, 3 in Chicago. While the Orioles continue their 8-game road trip. 3 in Oakland and then 2 in Seattle. 3 balls, no strikes. The count on Alomar.
All of a sudden, Andy Pettit doesn't look very sharp. 3 balls in a row. 2 of the last 3 pitches have been up in the strike zone. Didn't look like they had much on them.
Strike called, 3-1.
And I think with that, Nel Stottlemyre jumped on the phone, and the bullpen's starting to move around out there.
Alomar singles into left as it bounces in front of Chad Curtis. So a leadoff single in the 8th. You saw Mike Stanton get up in the Yankees bullpen. The Stanley Cup playoffs continue on Fox this Sunday afternoon. Game 1 of the Western Conference Final between the Detroit Red Wings, the defending Stanley Cup champions, and the Dallas Stars. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals of the NHL this Sunday on Fox. The Eastern Conference Finals get underway on Saturday night with the Washington Capitals hosting the Buffalo Sabres. There's Roberto Alomar with the Orioles' 7th hit of the game. And here's Palmeiro. A homer and a single. His last 2 times up. Breaking out of a 5-for-28 slump.
Well, this is a situation in the past you might concern yourself with Robbie Alomar running. But you have a combination of things in this equation that don't look like you might want him to run. Number 1, you got a left-handed pitcher in Pettit with a great pickoff move. A catcher who throws well in Girardi. There's that good move. That's that move where the move of the left-handed pitcher, his right leg goes halfway between first base and home plate. You're supposed to step toward first, and it can be a very close borderline step that makes a left-hander like Pettit have such a great move. The other part of the equation, you got a left-handed hitter up with a hole at first base. You might not want to take that away for him.
Strike called, 0-1. Back in the 4th inning with 2 men out. Palmeiro took Pettit deep to right field. And that gave the Orioles a 1-0 lead. We are now tied at 1 in the 8th. The 0-1 to Palmeiro. Strike called 0-2.
You know, we were talking about Andy Pettit and Joe Girardi were pitching a lot of right-handers in. Well, now, because Palmeiro has hit a couple balls out over the plate, his home run was on a hanging curveball. Now they're pounding him inside. Now you see his hit zone where that breaking ball was right in that area in the middle of the plate, that red zone, breaking right down in that. Now they're thinking about pounding him in.
The 0-2 from Pettit. It breaks outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, actually what they did, they set him up by working the ball inside. Then they tried to get him to chase a curveball way away. Now, indelibly imprinted on a pitcher's mind is where that ball was that Palmeiro hit for a home run before. Andy Pettit will see that, you know, in his nightmares for a couple nights, so he won't throw that there if he can help it again.
Nelson and Stanton in the Yankee bullpen. High and tight, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Joe Girardi wanted that, but because he jumped up to get in position to see where the runner was, Robbie Alomar at first base, I think that pitch was a borderline high pitch anyway, but when a catcher jumps like that, sometimes the umpire loses sight of the ball. And Joe, being the veteran, he might have jumped knowing it was borderline and trying to get it for his pitcher.
Pettit again over to first. Souvenir, Joe? I'll buy it. Okay. The 2-2 pitch. Again, high and inside. For a full count on Palmeiro. With Alomar, the runner, on first base, and nobody out. Top of the 8th in a 1-1 game with Joe Carter waiting on deck.
Now here's where you got to make a decision as the manager whether you want to try to run in this situation. 3-2 count. Pitcher left-hander with a good move. We'll see what Ray Miller wants Robbie Alomar to do.
Alomar bluff, and Palmeiro fouls it off down the first base line.
Well, the last thing you want to have happen here, where you're trying, you think you got a rally going, Sammy Perlazzo at third base giving the signs, is get picked off in a situation like this. And the pitch count's getting a little high for Andy Pettit. 110 at this point. Now, they're probably Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre going 1 hitter at a time here with him.
Palmeiro bounced it to the right side. Swain dove but could not make the play. Consecutive base hits for Alomar and Palmeiro. Orioles with first and second, and nobody out. And it's time for another Fox Sports Net game break from Kansas City. Juan Dunston hits his first home run of the year off Jose Rosado. A 6-0 lead for the Cleveland Indians over the Royals in the top of the 5th inning. And here at Yankee Stadium, top of the 8th, Orioles won and the Yankees won. Kenny Albert along with Jeff Torborg. Back-to-back base hits for Baltimore. Runners on first and second. Nobody out. Roberto Alomar down at second. Rafael Palmeiro on at first base. Joe Carter 1 for 3 tonight. And he fouls off the first pitch from Andy Pettit. 0-1.
Now, if you were in a different part of the order, down in the order more, you would see a bunt here ordered by Ray Miller to get runners over to second and third. But not in this situation. When you've got a power hitter like Joe Carter hitting 5th in your order, you don't ask him to bunt. I'm not so sure Joe's bunted in the last 10 years in the major leagues, so you don't ask somebody to do something he's not been done before. But I've seen Ripken bunt before, so Ray Miller's going for they're going to try to score a couple more runs than just what they might be thinking about from a bunt situation. Of course, when you manage a lot of times, you go for one, you end up getting a bundle. But again, as a manager, you don't ask a hitter to do something that he hasn't done.
Carter only 2 runs batted in his last 17 games, both coming via solo home runs. There's Alomar on second. That one, now 2 balls, 1 strike.
Well, he's just missing on balls on the inside part of the plate. They thought Andy Pettit and Joe Girardi before thought they had Rafael Palmeiro struck out on a ball that was inside, but was not quite there. I think they were looking at it with their hearts. I think it was a good call by Ted Hendry. And that pitch there to Joe Carter was inside also.
The 2-1 from Pettit. Knobloch backpedaling. Coming on is O'Neill, and Knobloch makes the catch. So one away here in the 8th as Carter pops out. As we take a look at the hit sequence to Joe Carter.
Well, there's 2 and 3 in a row inside, and that ball just fooled him. That ball was down in the strike zone over the plate a little bit, and Joe was committed a little early and popped it up. And we mentioned before also that Andy Pettit and Girardi had switched their approach to pitching to Cal Ripken. They were pounding him inside after he hit a ball, a screamer through the middle of the first at bat.
Ripken 1 for 3. Takes strike 1. He singled his first time up. The Orioles with 2 men on and 1 out in the 8th. Tied at 1. Finale of a 3-game series. Orioles looking to break a 7-game losing streak. Their last 8-game losing streak back in August of '93. The 0-1 to Ripken. Grounded foul, 0-2.
Well, they're right where they were the last at bat when they struck Cal out. They struck him out on a curveball. They got to this situation and they threw a downer curveball that Cal's thrown over the top of. You know, I sit here and watch Cal Ripken hitting in this situation. You wonder how many times has he faced the Yankees in Yankee Stadium over his career in this type of situation, and how many times has he produced?
Will he this time? 0-2. 1 out. Pettit to the plate. And again, Ripken fouls it off to the left side.
Well, that's Ray Miller giving signs to Sam Perlaza. There won't be any running on in this situation. But you have to continue to give all these signs. Well, look at this. I asked for it and I got it. Look what he's done at Yankee Stadium. 278, 11 home runs, 44 RBIs. Not bad. Boy, he's been up there enough, hasn't he? 105 games.
Inside, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You see Ray Miller and Mike Flanagan. Of course, Flanny pitched for Ray when Ray was a pitching coach of the Orioles the first time around. Mike was a Cy Young Award winner. There aren't too many smiles or a lot of tight jaws on that bench. They're not happy. 7 losses in a row will do that.
1-2 to Ripken, and he stays alive. Fouled off 4 in a row.
And they've all been inside. It's interesting how Joe Girardi has really shifted his game plan. Early in the game, he was pitching out over the plate. Now, that's interesting why you do that. We talked earlier about the fact that Andy Pettit had to get ahead of hitters. He hadn't been doing that lately. The place to get ahead of hitters is low and away. Now, here is signs. And there's a sequence of signs predetermined because there's a runner at second.
Off-speed pitch, and Pettit strikes out Ripken.
Kenny, that's the same pitch he struck him out on in the 6th inning. That's that curveball when he gets ahead after he's been pounding him hard in. He's fouled it off. He throws this downer curveball. It's the identical pitch to the previous at bat. Look at this. Boy, is that a nice breaking ball.
Ripken only 6 of 26 lifetime against Pettit. He struck out his last 2 at-bats here tonight. So now 2 away runners on first and second. Here's B.J. Surhoff. Singled his last time up.
Now, we were talking about B.J. before. You look at this stance. He's spread out. He doesn't have this big swing. He's not one of these guys that really gets back on that back leg and swings big. Now, that was a terrible-looking swing he just took. You'll see his hit zone. You can get him out up and in. You can make him chase the ball way down and away, but he's hot over the plate. It's because he doesn't commit too often. He can look bad on one swing and hit you very well on the next pitch.
Foul down the first base line, 0-2. So Pettit will out back-to-back singles. Alomar and Palmeiro has retired Carter and Ripken. And now an 0-2 count on Sirhoff.
Well, as a catcher, when you get to this count, now you've got a couple pitches to play with. In other words, you can go way away with a breaking ball and make sure your pitcher throws it 6 to 8 inches off the plate, or you can run a ball back inside, whatever you'd like to do here. And that's what Girardi did. They came back inside, and that's what he's been doing in the second part of this game. He's made an adjustment, and that's Andy Pettit I'm speaking about pitching hard in. Now, after showing the ball in, then they like to go back out away with an off-speed breaking ball.
Strike 3, he got him. Back-to-back singles, and then Pettit closes out the 8th with back-to-back strikeouts. They remain tied at 1. Middle of the 8th from Yankee Stadium.
Watching TV shouldn't split up the family. That's where HBO Family comes in. It's an exciting new channel that's free when you subscribe to HBO. It's commercial-free programming, 24 hours a day, and there's never an R rating. HBO Family brings everyone together.
I can't believe this. I've got this really hot date in 30 minutes, and right before I walk in here, my heel pops off. I mean, how am I going to get this fixed in 30 minutes? Does anybody know? Does anybody care?
Easy, you could put an eye out with that thing. The shoe breaks, you get a new one, you throw the old one out. End of story.
Not in 30 minutes. A hot date and no shoes does not make an ideal combination.
Looks like you're going barefoot.
Experience in Philadelphia.com now.
When I was a kid, I remember going to the Boys and Girls Club. There was this one teacher,
That's great, Frank.
Miss Franklin. She always encouraged me,
Right. Come on, Frank. You can do it.
especially when it came to baseball. It was a great experience.
There you go.
That's why I'm glad I can give something back to the Boys and Girls Club, especially to Miss Franklin.
Come on, Miss Franklin, you can do it. Come on. Here we go. Let's make this play.
Major League Baseball charities and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, giving kids a world of opportunities.
Orioles won and the Yankees won as we move to the bottom of the 8th. Well, Jeff and I will return to Yankee Stadium 1 week from tonight for the Yankees and the Red Sox. A classic rivalry. Some of you will see the Arizona Diamondbacks take on Barry Bonds and the San Francisco Giants. That's next Thursday, Baseball Thursday on Fox Sports Net. New York and Boston next Thursday, 1 and 2 in the American League East. Bottom of the 8th, Yankees and Orioles deadlocked at 1. Joe Girardi, who got things started in the 6th when he singled off the glove of Alomar, came around to score the Yankees' only run. And a nice stab by Ripken at third, and he throws him out.
This was a very nice defensive play by Cal Ripken. Remember, third base is so different than the shortstop that he used to play where he had a lot of room. Now he's playing up on the grass because he's protected against the bunt. Now see how he reacts? Third base is so different. Third base is almost a step and a dive and react. It's a quick reaction. Whole different position than shortstop, and he has made that adjustment.
Here's Dale Swain. 0 for 2, reached on an error. Ripken struck out his last 2 times up, including in the top of the 8th. How does a player separate, as a former player, Jeff, the frustrations at the plate and then go out and make a play like Ripken did on the field?
Well, it's over. There's nothing you can do about it. You know that you can help your club just as much out in the field. And the true pro goes out there and he just focuses on what he's supposed to do next.
1-1 to Swaim. Now 1-2. Swaim 0 for 12 on the season. Starting in place of the injured Tino Martinez tonight.
You know, Cal Ripken was such a good shortstop, and everybody used to say he was always in the right spot at shortstop. Now he switches to third, and the same is true there. He's just got a great instinct for the game. Of course, his dad was a lifelong baseball man, managed the Orioles, third base coach for many years. Brother Billy still playing, injured right now with the Tiger organization, but
the glove of Bordick. Big turnaround first. Dale Swaim reaches base once again.
Excuse me, Kenny, this is a very strange play. Now, it's a left-handed hitter in Swaim hitting the ball inside out. It looked like the ball sliced on Bordick. He broke, and it looked like the ball hooked behind him a little bit. A kind of a surprising play, but that's what happens if the swing is different. If you come inside the ball. Now, watch this. Here's the pitch, and you see Swaim slices it, and the ball goes backwards. It kind of back slices away from Bordick the other way.
Here's Chuck Knobloch, who takes ball one. First hit of the season for Dale Swaim.
Yeah.
He had been 0 for 12. And how about this? All 3 Yankee base hits tonight off the glove of an Oriole infielder. All 3 Yankee hits.
Yeah, that really shows how effective Scott Erickson has been. He has just been tremendous. What a game he's pitched.
Knobloch leans away, and the crowd reacts.
Well, that's good for the Yankees. He's certainly not going to hit anybody in this situation if he can help it, but it gets the blood going. When a home crowd starts going, it really gets people wheeling and dealing. You have to pitch Knobloch inside to get him out, and that ball just keeps running right at him. But Scott Erickson in the past has kind of come apart at times if he's had bad defense behind him or had some problems behind him. And a lot of sinker ballers do, because you make the best pitch you can, and the next thing you know, even though guys hit the ball on the ground, your team has not fielded the ball well.
Tino Martinez, who was hit by the pitch on Tuesday night. Strike called, 2-1.
Well, Tino Martinez really got crushed. He got hit right between the numbers in the back. I saw him before the game tonight with his shirt off. He's got some wealth. But here's this is a sinker ball that comes back on the plate from Erickson. He's had as good a sinker ball tonight as you could possibly ever have.
1 out. Swaim, the runner on first. Scott Erickson pitching into the 8th. 110 pitches. He has already thrown 3 complete games this season. Orioles with 4. Erickson has 3. Messina the other. Swaim is going. And it's fouled off by Knobloch. 2-2.
Kenny, we talked before about what balance the Yankee lineup has, the Yankee team has. Joe Torre can do that with just about anybody in the lineup. They can hit and run because they'll protect the runner. They can run because they have team speed. They have guys who can put the ball in play. Knobloch is outstanding. Don Zimmer talking. Don Zimmer is the bench coach for Joe Torre. Don, a manager, a lot of different places, San Diego, Boston, Texas, the Cubs. Outstanding baseball man.
Knobloch with a base hit into left field. And the Yankees with 2 men on. And only 1 out. The first clean base hit for the Yankees tonight. The other 3 deflected off Oriole gloves. Yankees batting .300 on the season. Best in the majors.
Now, this is like the old days of the Yankees of the 70s when you used to come in the Yankee Stadium and they would put on rallies like this. And all you felt in the other dugout was, here they come, here they come. And this Yankee team, you know, this is somewhat what happened in the 6th inning when Derek Jeter really settled, I should say Scott Erickson really settled down and struck out Jeter and O'Neill. And he's got his work cut out for him again. But as I mentioned just a minute ago, this Yankee lineup can put the ball in play. They don't go up there with big swings and strike out all the time. They'll make adjustments.
So here's Jeter. Grounded into a double play and struck out twice. His 15-game hitting streak is in danger. Yankees at home 15-3. Not much worse on the road, 15-6. 1 ball, no strikes. Swaim, the runner on second. Now block on at first. Good save by Lenny Webster. Arthur Rhodes up in the Oriole bullpen. The Orioles pen has struggled mightily in recent weeks. 1 away. 2-0 count on Jeter. 3 ball, no strikes.
Well, this is what this young shortstop can do. After having struck out a couple times, he then comes up to the plate. He doesn't get all anxious because there are runners on. He's selective. He's going to be the next all-star around these digs. Now, there's not a whole lot of places that he's cold on.
Only the second walk allowed by Erickson. The bases are loaded.
You know, we're talking about this series was supposed to be such a big series, and then the Orioles had this bad swing. How about next week with the Red Sox coming in here? We have them here Thursday night. They're a club right behind the Yankees. They're playing, if it hadn't been for the Yankees, as good a ball as you'll see in the American League. But here you are back in this situation, and Scott Erickson had to pitch his way out of something like this before, and he got himself out of it. Ray Miller taking the walk to the mound right now. Settle his big right-hander down, but boy, I'll tell you what, they've had to call on this big guy a whole lot tonight to do it by himself. Ray Miller's probably out there talking to everybody. Say, Scott, listen, all you have to do is keep throwing that good sinker, get the ball hit on the ground. Your defense will turn a double play for you. Erickson right now, you look at body language, and there's the bullpen. Alan Mills is the right-hander, Arthur Rose the left-hander closest to us. But you take a little look at Scott Erickson right now. As Ray Miller was talking to him, his head was down a little bit. You know, he's pitched his heart out, and here he is in deep trouble.
So Paul O'Neill, who signed a 1-year contract extension earlier today, comes to the plate. He is 4 for 6 this season with the bases loaded with 9 runs batted in. Ball 1.
Well, as we saw the Oriole defense, they're set in the middle for the double play. What you do when you shorten up for the double play is come in a little bit and over towards second base so you can turn it. So you see Alomar at second and Bordick at short. They play up a little bit and closer to second so they can turn a double play if they should get a ground ball.
Ground ball for the second baseman, Alomar. The toss to second. Run in time. O'Neill safe at first, and the Yankees take a 2-1 lead.
Well, this ball was hit a little too slow. If they ever make this play, it'd be unbelievable. Paul O'Neill is busting it down that first baseline, but he chops this ball. It's not hit very hard. Nice play by Robbie Alomar, but Bordick can't get as much on the throw as he would like to, and you can see Paul O'Neill hustling, and you can see how happy Dale Swaim is scoring. You know, as a manager, Ray Miller would rather have the ball hit hard at somebody, not a chopper. But the feed pulled Bordick a little bit off to the shortstop side. He couldn't get much on the ball.
Here's Bernie Williams with runners on the corners. 2 outs. And the Yankees have got on top. Ironically, should Erickson retire Williams, but the Orioles then go down in the 9th. It'll be the second complete game loss of the season for Scott Erickson.
Well, he has just pitched beautifully. And you're asking him to get the ground ball. He got the ground ball. In fact, he fooled Paul O'Neill enough that he didn't really hit the ball hard. I mean, you couldn't ask any more of a pitcher than what Scott Erickson has given you tonight.
But O'Neill beat the throw at first. And Dale Swain came across to score the Yankees' second run. A new hero every night for the Yankees, and tonight Swain starts the 8th inning rally with a one-out single and scores the go-ahead run in only his third start of the season.
Well, they're very resilient. They believe they can win now, and when you get in a role like this, you can't do anything wrong. Remember the ball you're talking about, the Swain hit, sliced off a Bordig's glove. The 1-1 to Williams, base hit right field. Another run scores. 3-1 Yankees. RBI number 23 for Bernie Williams. Well, Kenny, it's easy to say because we know the kind of record the Yankees had coming in 30-9, Ray Miller going out the mound, but this Yankee team is really loaded, and they're doing everything right. Tough luck evening for Scott Erickson, who was outstanding tonight. He struck out 9, a season high. The Yankees' first run followed 2 Oriole errors, and that is all for Scott Erickson.
Grady & Son make the sweetest steaks around, the Gazette. Grady & Son's marinade gives their steaks zing, the Gazette. Grady & Son cherish the secret to their tangy marinade, the Gazette.
Our secret is A1 sweet and tangy.
Grady and daughter make the sweetest steaks around, the Gazette. The secret to great steak isn't just for great steakhouses anymore. A1, a marinade, a seasoning, a 136-year-old secret.
Gary Sheffield, outstanding bat speed. Pull the ball with the best of them.
The secret to MLB 99's realism? Scouting reports straight from the pros.
Favorite cheese Gouda. Bobby Bonilla, weakness for fastballs in the dirt. Has a dog named Snacks.
That's impressive.
I knew that.
You drive a 71 Nova, make $22,000 a year, and you were a bedwetter.
Hey, better.
PlayStation.
Fronting the classic paradigm. As this matrix diagram shows, supported assimilation would be the process of aligning risk assessment protocol implied built-in system redundancy. These slides show plan, do, check, take action. It states how tactical implementation and follow-up are key to assessing the viability. I'm sorry, I have to leave.
The Mitsubishi G100 wireless phone. Make something happen.
Scott Erickson exits after 7 2/3. He allowed only 5 Yankee hits. And the Yankees have taken a 3-1 lead here in the bottom of the 8th inning, looking to sweep the Orioles. Coming up after tonight's game on Fox Sports News, a pair of home runs for Jose Canseco, his 15th and 16th of the season. Former teammates Chris Webber and Juwan Howard in the news. And the NBA Conference Finals. That's all coming up following tonight's game on Fox Sports News. Arthur Rhodes, the 28-year-old left-hander, in relief of Scott Erickson.
Rhodes is one of the few guys that's done much out of the bullpen. The bullpen here for the Orioles has been struggling. I mean, they have just been awful lately. And Rhodes at this point has a 2-2 record. His earned run average is .381. This is his 17th appearance. Of course, the last couple of years he was just unbelievable with it. At least the records that he's had. He's been 19-4 over the prior 2 years. But the Oriole bullpen has really gone the pot. Erickson threw 121 pitches in the time that he was in there. It just did a fantastic job, but the Yankees just keep coming.
Orioles bullpen in their last 13 games, 7.5 earned run average as Tim Raines takes ball 1. Of course, the Yankees lead 3-1, so it is not a save situation, but the bullpen has blown 5 consecutive saves. 7 on the season. They blew only 10 saves all of last year. 2 outs in the 8th, 2 runs in for the Yankees. And Raines pops it up. And this will be out of the reach of Rafael Palmeiro. 1-1.
That was a heck of an effort by Palmeiro. He got way in there, just missed that. Fighting the fans for the ball, because the fans are up there all looking for an autograph, for a ball they get autographed or a souvenir. And the amazing thing is, when you think about these Orioles and the Yankees, they have had such great rivalries. I remember I was coaching with the Yankees in 1980. We won 103 games. They won 101, I believe. And 2 years ago, when the Yankees were so effective, the Yankees blew the Orioles away.
They had defeated Baltimore in the ALCS in '96.
Yep.
Last year, the Orioles won 5 of 6 here at Yankee Stadium. And the Orioles won the division.
Yes. Boy, when you get in the funk, everything's going wrong. I mean, they've lost 7 straight, as you mentioned earlier. They're 10-23 in their last 33 games. That's hard to believe with the kind of pitching staff they have. Usually with a good pitching staff, you don't have big losing streaks. And you can see Arthur Rhodes, hard thrower, missing upstairs to the veteran Tim Raines.
Last year, Orioles won 8 of 12 against the Yankees, including 5 of 6, as we mentioned, here at Yankee Stadium. They've lost the last 2 nights, 9-5, 9-6, and they trail 3-1 here tonight. And a 3-1 count. Ball 4. So Rhodes comes in and walks Raines. And again, the bases are full of Yankees.
This is what I meant about this Yankee team. They are so darn selective at the plate. You know, they're really number 1 in on-base percentage in the American League. Not just batting average, on-base percentage. Number 2 in slugging percentage. It means they're selective, that they don't go chasing the pitcher's pitch, especially when the game's on the line.
Chad Curtis has come to the plate with the bases loaded 5 times this year. As he winds up about halfway down the first base line following that swing.
Well, Chad Curtis, when he was a center fielder for the Angels, he did this. He swung from his rear end. He would swing from his rear end, almost fall down. He was looking for a fastball here, and he got something off speed and almost broke his neck here.
Curtis, 1 career grand slam. This year, 0 for 2 with 2 walks and a sacrifice fly with the bases full. 2 outs.
Excuse me, Kenny, I'm sorry. Some guys get very excited when the bases are loaded and they're hitting.
Not that time, but strike is called. No balls, 2 strikes.
I remember Don Mattingly in his early years. You know, here's a great hitter, won the batting title, was an MVP in the American League. When he got the bases loaded, man, he was going to swing at anything that was thrown up there. Thou shalt not pass, you know, anything that got close.
The 0-2 from Rhodes. This is outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Looking ahead to the Orioles' 9th, Webster, Bordick, and Anderson. With the Orioles trailing at 3-1. Yankees with 2 runs here in the bottom of the 8th. And Curtis lifted in the air to left. Surhoff calls off Anderson. So Curtis flies out with the bases loaded. Last chance for the Orioles. They trail by 2 as we move to the 9th.
Let me tell you something about heroes. They ain't like you and me. Look at Griffey, the way he taps the spikes and grows the tee, punches the glove and flips the lid, signs the hat, eats the dirt, and twirls the lumber, warms it up and works the crowd. The way he holds the pose, slams the wall, anticipates, and always thanks his mother. Let me tell you about guys like him. They ain't just playing stick.
This is Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr. with Reality Bat for Infinite Swings. It's only on N64, only on Nintendo Sports.
I have to call home.
What's wrong?
I need to check in on Bobby. Bobby?
Hey, Dad.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Did you mow the lawn?
No.
Yes!
Introducing the smooth-riding Kubota TG Lawn Tractor. Don't be surprised if you get attached to it.
Dad, I
gotta go. Something's burning.
Whatever. Bye-bye.
The world's greatest explorer wasn't available, so they got this guy.
We got a beast!
He's offensive. He's vulgar. He's perfect.
I hope Satan himself burns the flesh from your miserable balls!
Chris Farley.
You know, I've waited years to hear somebody say that.
Matthew Perry.
Trust me, the worst is over.
They're hitting the road and anything else that gets in their way. Almost Heroes, rated PG-13, starts Friday, May 29th.
Yankees leading the Orioles 3-1 as we head to the ninth. Andy Pettit allowed only 1 run on 8 hits through 8. Now it's Mariano Rivera's turn. Rivera with 8 saves and 10 opportunities this year for the Yankees. And Ray Miller really going at it just in front of the Orioles dugout. Miller joined with third base umpire Dale Ford.
I don't know what this is all about in this situation. What can this be that got Ray so incensed here? Talking to the crew chief now, that's Drew Coble. And I don't know what got Ray so hot.
Crowd's enjoying it. There goes the water cooler.
Well, you know, whether that's frustration or trying to fire his own team up, but I don't know what it could be, or what the concern could be at that particular point.
There's Eddie Murray in this middle.
Something happened. I don't know whether he was so mad at Dale Ford that maybe he saw him gesture or something. Something upset Ray to the point that he would come out and let it all fly at that point. But you got young Rivera in there who can really throw. This guy is a power pitching short reliever who really can throw. He's got a high riding fastball. He's in the mid-90s. He throws a hard slider with it. Occasional split finger. He's a very good fielder. He's a cat off the mound. He can be run on, but in this situation, you wouldn't worry about that. But what you'll see is a very sneaky, slow delivery, and his fastball explodes up in the strike zone.
Lenny Webster will lead it off for the Orioles here in the ninth. Webster is 0 for 3 tonight. Crowd starts to chant sweep. Yankees have won the first 2. Rivera, 12 appearances, 8 saves. And you see the ERA, 0.64.
And you see 0 walks for a power pitcher coming in short relief. That's saying something.
0-2.
You know what's so amazing about this guy? If you watch his delivery, he's not a big guy. He's lean, but he's got a very loose whip-like arm. And with his delivery so smooth, the ball gets on the hitters before they realize it.
Webster stays alive, fouls it back. Leading off the Orioles ninth.
You know, normally when you see a big power pitcher, you see a whirling dervish, but look how smooth he is. Brings the leg up under him. And then the ball just kind of fires out of his hand and explodes at the plate.
The 0-2 from Rivera. And again, Webster fouls it back.
You know, when you think about it, when you have a pitch like that, which is right almost down the middle of the plate, and have it fouled back, it tells you what kind of stuff the pitcher has.
Third straight foul. And Webster remains alive. Yankees, of course, clinched this series with the victory last night. They lost their season opening series, and that is one of the reasons why the Yankees have gone 30-9, 26-1 when leading after 8 innings. They lost their season opening series to the Angels and not lost a series since then. They won 13 and tied 3 others. Ground ball to the left side. Jeter, one away.
Well, that was the only only breaking ball he threw in that sequence of pitches. Everything was hard, and then he threw a slider. And then Webster pulled over it, and a nice play. That was not an easy play by Derek Jeter. He came up and had to make that play on the run, and then, of course, he threw the ball across the infield as accurately as you can on the dead run. But Girardi and Rivera are not messing around. They're going hard. Boom, right over the middle of the plate. I love to see that.
Mike Bordick 0 for 2 with a walk. Strike one. The executive producers of Fox Sports Net are Arthur Smith and Bill Borson. Our coordinating producer for Baseball Thursday is Larry Myers. One away. The 0-1 from Rivera. 0-2. Tonight's game produced by Tom Hewitt, directed by Jeff Mitchell, and our head of field operations is Andrea Jenkins. Tremendous job by our entire crew here tonight at Yankee Stadium. 0-2 on Bordick.
I was just thinking about the scouting report on Rivera. You talk about his fastball rising through the zone. Probably the law of physics, it doesn't, because he throws overhand. Anybody that throws overhand, you can't make the ball go up. You have to throw underneath it. But he throws so darn hard with such easy motion that it looks like it maintains that level and like it pops through the zone. A la Sandy Koufax. We were talking about Sandy Koufax earlier when we were talking about perfect games. Very easy delivery, and the ball exploded in the strike zone. And Bordick fighting just to make contact. You get in a situation like this, Kenny, and you're the hitter. You're up there just defending the zone, trying to put the ball in play.
Rivera has thrown 11 pitches. He has not thrown a ball. Strike three. He's gone 0-2 on both Webster and Bordick. They both fouled off a couple. 2 away here in the ninth. Our Desenex play of the game. Bottom of the eighth. Paul O'Neill beats it out. Dale Swaim comes across to score the go-ahead run. Yankees would add another. They lead 3-1. Orioles down to their final out in the person of Brady Anderson.
Well, if you're a Yankee fan, this guy's fun to watch. This Mariano Rivera coming in and throwing high heat the way he does.
Back to Rivera. It's over. A line drive into the glove of Mariano Rivera, who saves his ninth. Andy Pettit, the winner. He is now 6-4. Scott Erickson, the loss. The hard luck loss. Now 4-5. Yankees win their 5th in a row. They are now 31-9, 16-3 at home. Orioles 20-26, 8 consecutive losses, swept for the 2nd consecutive series. 4 against Tampa Bay, and now a 3-game sweep by the Yankees. For Jeff Torborg, this is Kenny Albert saying so long from Yankee Stadium. Coming up on FX Baseball Saturday night. Giants and the Cardinals. Some of you will see the Devil Rays and the Mariners. Next Thursday night, Baseball Thursday on the Fox Sports Net right here at Yankee Stadium. Yankees and the Red Sox, or the Diamondbacks and the Giants. Coming up next, Fox Sports News Prime Time. The final once again, the Yankees 3, the Orioles 1. You've been watching Baseball.